Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Issei Freed the Dark Angel. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. In the beginning of all things, God created the universe filled with millions of stars, planets, and the world of life. He shaped the earth, forming land, oceans, and skies, and filled them with animals that roamed the land, soared through the air, and swam in the sea. He crafted trees and mountains, and finally he created humans, his greatest creation. While resting in heaven, God decided to create angels, his followers and guardians of both heaven and earth. Among them were several archangels, each bestowed with a name: Lucifer, Michael, Gabriel, Metatron, Raphael, Sariel, Zazel, Kokabeel, Barakil, Penemu, Sandalphon, Leviathan, Samuel, Sadnal. These archangels served as guardians of heaven and earth. One day, Azazel chose to descend to the human world, venturing from a different realm that was not the Garden of Eden. Upon arrival, he was appalled to witness the violence that plagued humanity, acts of killing, stealing, and tormenting innocent individuals. Disgusted by the actions of these humans, Azazel felt a deep sadness. As he contemplated returning to heaven, a girl's scream pierced through the air, drawing his attention. Compelled to investigate, he flew toward the sound, arriving at a scene that filled him with dread. A girl was bound and silenced by a group of brutish men. Though she struggled to cry out for help, her voice was muffled, rendering her pleas unheard. One of the men taunted her, declaring her efforts futile and cruelly kicking her. Another suggested a horrific fate for her, which sent a wave of terror through the girl. Just as one of the men approached her with malicious intent, Azazel intervened, striking down the attacker with a bolt of lightning. The sudden turn of events startled both the girl and the remaining men, who fled in fear as Azazel descended from the sky, his golden wings shimmering in the light. With a gentle demeanor, Azazel approached the girl and used his magic to free her from her restraints. Once liberated, she removed the cloth from her mouth and gazed at the archangel in awe. Concerned for her well-being, he asked if she was all right. She responded with gratitude, expressing her relief at being saved from such a dire situation. Azazel, feeling a blush rise to his cheeks, introduced himself, insisting she simply call him by his name. The girl, with a shy yet radiant smile, introduced herself as Lina Libra, a runaway princess from a distant kingdom. Azazel found beauty in her name, which meant light. As he prepared to leave, he cautioned her to be careful, acknowledging the dangers that surrounded them. Lina, feeling a connection, grasped his arm and implored him to take her with him to heaven. Azazel was taken aback, explaining that it was not possible for humans to reside in heaven. Just then, a radiant light appeared before them, revealing God, known as Elohim. God inquired about Azazel's presence in the human world and the girl by his side. Azazel stammered an explanation, but Lina interjected, sharing how Azazel had saved her from danger and expressing her desire to take his punishment if necessary. She humbly offered herself in place of the archangel, wishing to protect him. Elohim considered her words, noting Azazel's protectiveness over her. He acknowledged Lina's loyalty and proposed that she could join them, allowing Azazel to care for her as his beloved. Lina was taken aback by this revelation, while Azazel felt a mix of surprise and joy at his father's words. With a newfound hope, Azazel realized that their destinies were intertwined, and he was ready to embrace the journey ahead with Lina by his side. But Azazel, being an archangel, believed that committing a sin would be a sign of disrespect to his father. Elohim, however, reassured him that there was a solution. He had created a special room for Azazel and Lina, where they could have a child without falling from grace. But for this to happen, they needed to marry if Azazel truly loved her with all his heart. Both Azazel and Lina were taken aback by the opportunity God was offering them to start a family. Azazel expressed his gratitude, unable to contain his excitement. He thanked his father with a cheerful smile, but Lina shot him a glare, prompting him to quiet down. Elohim chuckled at their interaction and encouraged Azazel to carry his wife and bring her to their home, suggesting they announce their marriage to everyone. With a radiant glow, he departed for heaven. Lena remarked on how enthusiastic Elohim seemed about their marriage, and Azazel, feeling a bit insecure, asked if she disapproved. She quickly reassured him that she loved it, appreciating the protection and love he showed her as her guardian angel. Azazel, with a playful smirk, lifted Lena, who protested playfully, asking him to stop smirking and not to carry her like that. He apologized and assured her they were headed to heaven together. The couple was filled with joy, united in their love as an angel and a human. 11 months later, after their wedding, Lena was about to give birth. Since joining the heavenly realm, she had earned admiration from many angels for her beauty and dedication, though some from Lucifer's faction were envious of her presence among them. Lucifer had attempted to tempt her, but she had firmly rejected him, knowing his pride and arrogance were not to be trusted. It was amusing to many that the first child of God had been bested by a mere human, leading Elohim to refer to Lena as a grand saintess. This title was the highest rank for humans, making her a true leader among the church and human factions. Lena had the strength to stand against archangels like Azazel, Michael, and Lucifer, and she had even developed her own unique magic, known as Lightborn magic, passed down through generations. Their wedding had been a grand celebration, and now she was surrounded by female angels, ready to assist her in childbirth. Outside the room, Elohim was comforting Azazel, who was anxious about the safety of his wife and child. Elohim reassured him that Lena was strong and courageous. Suddenly, a scream pierced the air, causing concern among the male angels. Gabriel rushed in, her face filled with worry, alerting them that Lena was losing too much blood. Elohim and Azazel hurried inside, leaving Michael and the others behind, as Gabriel insisted they stay out. Inside, they found Lena struggling, and Elohim quickly used healing magic to stabilize her, though it was a slow process. Azazel rushed to her side, where he saw their newborn child cradled in Lena's arms. With a weak voice, Lena shared her joy, expressing how beautiful their daughter was, resembling her yet inheriting Azazel's intelligence. Their child sprouted 6 wings, a mix of black and gold. Azazel marveled at their daughter, recognizing her as a seraph, a unique blend of human and angel. Lena urged him to hold their child, encouraging him to name her. Gently, Azazel took their daughter into his arms, gazing into her eyes, which mirrored Lena's. He decided on the name Olivia, proclaiming her as the light of dawn, born from an archangel and a grand priestess. Lena smiled at the name, but her expression turned somber as she felt her strength waning. She mentally apologized to Azazel and Olivia, expressing her love and trust in Azazel to care for their child. As her heartbeat faded, Elohim checked her pulse and confirmed the tragic news. He informed Azazel that Lena had passed away, unable to intervene without disrupting the balance of life and death. Elohim urged Azazel to honor Lena's memory by caring for Olivia, promising to support him as a good father. He expressed his sorrow for Azazel's loss, leaving him to grapple with the weight of his new responsibilities. Azazel took his leave with a sad expression, leaving behind Azazel and baby Olivia. Azazel gazed at his deceased wife, overwhelmed with grief and despair. Memories flooded his mind, saving her, their dates, the joy of their shared moments, and the love they built together. Above all, he cherished the dream of a happy family. Baby Olivia, witnessing her mother's passing, cried out in sorrow for the loss of her only parent. Azazel knelt beside his wife, holding his daughter close, his own cries echoing through the heavens, where others mourned the grand saintess, honoring her memory with loyalty. In Lucifer's chamber, he and his army of 72 angels awaited the right moment to initiate their rebellion against God. Lucifer rallied his followers, declaring that although their time had not yet come, they needed to prepare themselves for their goal. With the death of the grand saintess Lena, they had gained an advantage to attack heaven, but he insisted they wait for 16 years. His followers cheered with pride, unaware that a powerful being, born to challenge God, could soon cast them out of heaven for good. The next day, at Lena's funeral at the altar, many angels mourned her passing. Kokabeel, close to Azazel, felt sorrow for his friend, knowing the fate of Lena but unable to share it. He offered his condolences and support. Adam and Eve were also present, laying flowers at the altar, tears streaming down their faces. Elohim delivered a heartfelt message honoring Lena's achievements before saying his final goodbye. He then handed a torch to Azazel, who took it with trembling hands. Looking at his daughter, who cradled Gabriel's sleeping form, he lit the torch with fire and set Lena's coffin ablaze, watching as her body turned to ashes. They wept openly as they bid farewell, and Azazel took Olivia from Gabriel, who bowed before leaving with her brother Michael. As he held baby Olivia, Azazel remarked on how much she resembled her mother, assuring her that he was there for her and that she was not alone. Unbeknownst to them, Lena's spirit watched from behind, embracing them both and whispering her love before vanishing into thin air. 15 years passed since the death of the Grand Saintess Lena Libra, wife of Azazel Gregory and mother of Olivia Gregory. Azazel devoted himself to caring for his daughter, showering her with affection and gifts. He had support from Elohim, Michael, Gabriel, Barachiel, Raphael, Uriel, and Penemu in raising her. Olivia had grown into a stunning seraph, her dark golden wings shining brighter than the sun in darkness. She bore a striking resemblance to her mother, adorned with angelic wings. Trained by her mentors, including Penemu, Michael, Uriel, Barachiel, and Kokabeel, Olivia was unaware that she was the strongest angel ever, a prodigy with a unique lineage. One day, while reading her mother's cherished Bible, which contained knowledge about heaven and the newly discovered underworld, an angel of the lowest rank burst into her room, urgently seeking her help. He informed her that Lucifer and his followers had rebelled against heaven, and her father and the archangels were struggling to hold them off. Lucifer sought to confront Elohim in the throne room. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Olivia set down her Bible, stood up, and grabbed her twin long swords before rushing to the throne room. Upon arrival, she saw Lucifer, transformed and calling himself the devil, taunting God. With determination, Olivia flew forward, landing a few meters away from Lucifer and pointing one of her swords at him. She confronted him, expressing her outrage at his rebellion against her grandfather and the rest of heaven. Lucifer, unfazed, challenged her, inviting her to join him in ruling the world and dominating humanity. But did he really think he could defeat her? Olivia stood her ground, declaring that she would not ally with Lucifer and his rebellious angels. She had faith in the God who was above all, her grandfather. Lucifer frowned at her defiance, expressing his disappointment. He threatened her, saying she would meet the same fate as her mother. With a surge of dark mist, Lucifer flew upwards and struck at Olivia. However, she skillfully blocked his attack with her twin long swords, pushing him back and attempting to slash him. Lucifer evaded her strike, and their battle intensified. Meanwhile, Azazel faced his sister Leviathan, who wielded a magic staff. Both were exhausted from their struggles. Azazel questioned her motives, demanding to know why she was fighting alongside Lucifer. He launched his lightning spear at her, but she blocked it with her staff. Leviathan revealed that she had been forced to join Lucifer, fearing for Olivia's life. She felt powerless to protect her daughter against him. Azazel was taken aback by her admission and urged her to have sought help from him or their father. Leviathan, in tears, explained that they had been bound to Lucifer, and the 73rd angel who tried to sever ties had been killed by Lucifer's magic. She felt corrupted and believed she would never be forgiven. Suddenly, the sound of clashing swords echoed from the throne room, prompting them to rush inside. They found Olivia and Lucifer engaged in a fierce duel at the center of the room. Lucifer questioned Olivia's allegiance to God, claiming he was the rightful ruler of heaven and earth. Olivia countered, asserting her mixed heritage as both angel and human, emphasizing the strength and emotions of humanity. With a powerful kick, she sent Lucifer crashing into the wall. As he struggled to recover, Olivia unleashed a dark windblade attack. Lucifer, caught off guard and unable to escape due to his wings being trapped, was struck down by her powerful blow, leaving him severely injured. The onlookers were astonished by Olivia's strength, realizing she had been holding back, surpassing even the archangels. Olivia approached the unconscious Lucifer and brought him to the center, declaring to God that Lucifer had committed grave sins and betrayed him. She suggested that he and the 72 angels be banished from heaven and sent to hell, proposing immediate action against the traitors to prevent further conflict. God acknowledged her words, agreeing that those who rebelled were no longer angels but devils. He explained that upon their banishment, they would transform into demonic forms and become vulnerable to holy magic and weapons. He also warned that any future betrayal would result in becoming fallen angels, stripped of their powers and unable to redeem themselves. As Olivia prepared to carry out the banishment, Azazel interjected, asking if Leviathan could be spared for her actions. He explained her situation, revealing that she had joined Lucifer out of fear for her daughter's safety. God considered this and turned to Leviathan, who nodded in acknowledgement of her plight. Olivia, however, felt that Leviathan should still face punishment. She proposed that Leviathan be sent to the underworld but granted the ability to transform into a giant serpent creature, allowing her to retain her free will. This would enable her to choose her alliances freely. God agreed to Olivia's decision, creating a gateway to the underworld. With determination, Olivia seized Lucifer and cast him into hell without hesitation, fulfilling her duty and sealing the fate of the rebellious angels. Lucifer awoke from his slumber, his screams echoing through hell as he felt his holy aura replaced by demonic power. His once beautiful angel wings transformed into dark, scaly appendages that were both grotesque and terrifying. Next, it was Leviathan's turn. Olivia looked at her aunt, her voice filled with regret as she spoke. She expressed her sorrow, saying that this was the best she could do and asked for forgiveness. Leviathan embraced her niece one last time, bidding her farewell. She reassured Olivia that she would always remember her, emphasizing that she was her favorite niece. Leviathan urged Olivia to be strong and to follow in her mother's footsteps, always reading her favorite Bible and resisting the temptations of evil. She encouraged Olivia to find someone who could love and protect her in the future, asking her to keep this promise. Olivia nodded, a bittersweet smile on her face, before Leviathan leaped into the depths of hell, transforming into a giant serpent as she descended, her cries of anguish fading into the abyss. Afterward, the remaining 72 angels were banished from heaven, their cries of despair echoing as Elohim closed the gateway, instructing them to rest or help tend to the wounds of their fellow angels and repair the damage done to their home. He reminded them that they must remain unnoticed by those outside the pantheon. As the angels dispersed, Olivia was approached by her father. Azazel asked Olivia what would happen if he were banished from heaven. Olivia reflected on the difficult decision, expressing her devotion to him and her grandfather. She warned him that if he committed a sin, she would have no choice but to banish him herself, but her care for him and the Gregory family remained steadfast. Azazel gently patted her head, acknowledging her words. He vowed not to follow in Lucifer's footsteps, admitting his flaws but assuring her that he would never forget or hurt her. He encouraged Olivia to forge her own path and make her own choices. A month later, Olivia was sent by her grandfather to check on her Uncle Adam and Aunt Eve in the Garden of Eden. Upon arrival, she found them wearing leaves to cover themselves. Confused, she questioned why they had eaten the forbidden fruit, which her grandfather had specifically warned them against. Adam claimed it was Eve's fault, stating that she had convinced him the fruit was delicious. Eve, in turn, explained that she had been deceived by a serpent and had eaten the fruit unknowingly. Olivia recalled the stories she had read in her mother's Bible and searched for the serpent, eventually using her gravitation magic to capture it as it struggled to escape. The serpent hissed in fear, pleading for release. Olivia demanded to know if Lucifer had sent it to trick Adam and Eve into eating the forbidden fruit. The serpent admitted that it had followed Lucifer's orders in exchange for something. In a swift act of justice, Olivia used her fire magic, and the serpent was consumed in flames, leaving only ashes behind. Turning to Adam and Eve, Olivia sighed, expressing her regret. She conveyed her grandfather's order to banish them from Eden, explaining that they could never return. With heavy hearts, Adam and Eve accepted their fate, and Olivia bid them farewell, wishing them well as they left for the wasteland. She then used her lightning magic to seal the entrance of Eden with falling stones, ensuring that no one could enter again. A year later, Olivia stood before her grandfather, questioning what her father and the other Gregory had done to warrant their punishment. Elohim expressed his disappointment, revealing that they had engaged in inappropriate relationships with humans, committing the sins of lust and greed. Olivia struggled to understand how her father could have her if he had fallen from grace. Azazel clarified that while he and Lena had been allowed to have a child due to a special circumstance created by Elohim, he had chosen his own path this time. He apologized to Olivia, offering her a piece of advice. She was a special angel who could never become a fallen angel or a devil, regardless of her actions. Olivia was taken aback, seeking confirmation from her grandfather, who affirmed her father's words. One cannot fall from grace simply by committing a sin or by being NTMT with someone. Additionally, there is no need to seek a special place to express love. He gave a thumbs up, but Olivia was taken aback, snapping out of her thoughts. She turned to her father and declared that she forgave him, but it was time to banish him and others to the underworld, specifically to the brightest part, as the devils despised the land where the sun rose and preferred the darkness. She approached Azazel, and the other archangels watched as Olivia seized her father and cast him into hell. The rest of the Gregory followed suit, being thrown into the depths by the other archangels and angels. Years passed, and Olivia ceased to age, her appearance remaining that of a 17-year-old. During this time, the devil faction amassed a large army and waged war in the human world, while the fallen angel faction joined the fight against the devils and some angels. Olivia had risen to become an archangel of darkness, promoted by her grandfather, who held great affection for her. She led the 5th Division Army, supported by Michael's 1st Division of Angels. To everyone's surprise, Olivia ventured alone to confront the Devil Army, successfully eliminating 5 out of the 72 pillars of hell in just 3 days. She was indeed a formidable force, a true abomination to the Devil faction and a savior of heaven and earth. Azazel and the Gregory could not help but laugh at the sudden defeat of the Devil faction, who had lost 5 pillars to the Archangel of Darkness. Leviathan and her husband Beelzebub felt ashamed of Lucifer's failed plan and wished to distance themselves from his petty war. With the heavens gaining the upper hand, they decided to advance and destroy the remaining pillars of hell. Olivia's army prepared to engage the Gremory and Baal forces. Olivia rallied her troops, urging them to attack immediately. She drew her long sword and pointed it at the Gremory and Baal forces, leading the charge into the air with her fellow angels and seraphs, unleashing their long-range holy magic. The devils, upon hearing the assault, panicked and retreated, unwilling to face the Archangel of Darkness. Olivia swiftly cut down numerous devils in her path. One devil cried out in despair as Olivia's sword slashed through him, turning him to ashes. Another devil barely began to curse her before Olivia pierced his heart, silencing him forever. The remaining devils faced imminent doom, and Olivia entered a fierce frenzy, ensuring none could escape her wrath. Once her army had vanquished the devils, Olivia offered a prayer for those who had fallen in battle before addressing her angels. She inquired about the leaders of Gremory and Baal, but an angel informed her that they were not present and suspected a trap. Olivia hesitated, unsure, when suddenly an explosion erupted at the center of their camp. A terrifying figure emerged, resembling an undead yet powerful being capable of matching the Archangel of Darkness. The mutated Death Knight unleashed a roar, demanding the destruction of all angels as it slashed through nearby foes, claiming the lives of several low-class angels. Despite the valiant efforts of 20 low angels attacking the creature without orders, they met a brutal end, as the mutated Death Knight showed no mercy, slashing and crushing its enemies. The anguished cries of the angels echoed as many succumbed to their fate. Olivia commanded her seraphs to retreat to Michael's forces, determined to confront the monster alone. She drew another sword and prepared for battle. The mutated Death Knight, noticing her, pointed its sword at her and exclaimed that she resembled his little sister. Shocked, Olivia realized he was her uncle. Aurelius, the war prince of the Libra kingdom and Lena's older brother, expressed his sorrow at having to fight his own family due to Lucifer's orders. Olivia introduced herself with pride, declaring her lineage and her title as the Archangel of Darkness. Aurelius acknowledged her, revealing his name and preparing to engage in combat. Both took a deep breath and opened their eyes, clashing fiercely. Aurelius raised his giant sword to strike Olivia, who blocked it with her twin swords, struggling momentarily before pushing the sword upward. She then rushed to his blind spot, slashing at him multiple times. Aurelius felt the sting of her attacks, knowing his weaknesses lay in holy weapons. He retaliated with a powerful upward slash, forcing Olivia to backflip and prepare her magic. Olivia summoned her power, transforming herself into a more formidable form. Aurelius recognized the change in her wings and realized she had fallen from grace. Olivia, however, asserted that she could not truly fall from grace, for she was special. End of the line, dreadful night, Olivia declared as she launched her attack with incredible speed and strength. Aurelius had no choice but to unleash his full power to match the god. Their strikes collided with such intensity that sparks flew and the wind howled around them as they clashed swords. They continued their fierce battle for over 18 minutes. However, Olivia, being one-third human, began to feel the strain of the fight, unlike her two-thirds angelic nature. Summoning her remaining strength, she parried Aurelius's sword with her right blade while moving her left sword toward his core, declaring it was the end. With a brilliant glow, Olivia's sword illuminated the area as it pierced Aurelius's core, effectively ending his suffering. As he began to fade, Aurelius expressed his gratitude, thanking Olivia for freeing him from his curse. He urged her to take care of herself before dissolving into particles, leaving Olivia behind. Exhausted from the drain on her mana, Olivia reverted to her normal form and collapsed to the ground. In her final moments of consciousness, she saw her uncle Michael and his forces rushing to her aid. She also glimpsed her uncle Aurelius's soul, more handsome than her other uncles, sharing the same hair and eye color as her mother and herself. He smiled at her before vanishing from her sight. Later, after retreating to heaven, Olivia's victory over the mutated Death Knight was reported to God. This news sparked excitement among the angels and archangels, while God felt a twinge of worry for his granddaughter's safety, fearing she might face danger again. He contemplated how to end the ongoing war between the devils and fallen angels. At that moment, he sensed the presence of two heavenly dragons, Draig and Albion. Despite his disdain for them, he recognized their threat to his angelic army, Lucifer's devils, and Azazel's fallen angels. Just then, Michael approached him. Michael informed God that someone wished to meet him, someone who could help end the Great War. God agreed to let the visitor in, and when the door opened, it revealed Lilith, the devil. God stood in surprise, questioning her presence in heaven. Lilith knelt before him, acknowledging the risks of her entrance but insisting that she had a solution to the conflict among angels, fallen angels, and devils. God, sensing her sincerity, agreed to listen but warned her of the consequences if she lied. Lilith explained that they needed to defeat the heavenly dragons and seal their souls into the sacred gear. God and Michael exchanged puzzled glances. When Michael asked why this was necessary, Lilith elaborated that humans required powerful defenses against supernatural threats, and harnessing the dragon's power would be the best way to achieve that. God acknowledged her point but reminded her that only his granddaughter Olivia could defeat the dragons. Lilith glanced at Olivia, who lay unconscious on her bed. She reminded God that she and Adam were his perfect creations, capable of combating divine beings with ease. God recalled that without Adam, Lilith would struggle against the dragons alone. Lilith admitted her weakness and proposed a truce. She suggested that God contact Azazel and the cadres while she would reach out to Beelzebub and Leviathan. God agreed but questioned what they would do about Lucifer. Lilith's frustration erupted as she expressed her disdain for him, believing he was too preoccupied with his own schemes to care about a truce. At that moment, Olivia stirred from her slumber, stretching her arms and yawning, curious about the commotion. Upon seeing her Aunt Lilith, she jumped up excitedly, calling out to her. It was a joyful reunion as Olivia hugged her aunt tightly. Lilith, struggling to escape the embrace, exclaimed that she might suffocate from the bare hugs. Their laughter filled the room, joined by Elohim and Michael, who found the scene amusing. After a moment, Elohim suggested they prepare for their meeting, prompting Lilith and Olivia to separate and head to the meeting room. Inside the meeting room, they awaited the arrival of others. When the door opened, Azazel, Leviathan, Beelzebub, and Asmodeus entered. As the final battle of the great biblical war approached, the combined forces of angels and fallen angels prepared under the leadership of the three devil kings and the devil queen. Azazel and his cadres teamed up with Michael and his archangels, strategizing to guide their armies against Lucifer's forces. Meanwhile, Elohim, Jesus, the three devil kings, and Lilith planned to confront Satan Lucifer with all their might. However, they faced a daunting challenge. Lucifer had transformed into a giant serpent, towering over them and surpassing even Leviathan's serpent form. Lucifer boasted about his strength, declaring that they could not defeat him and that they would regret challenging him. As he lunged at them, Asmodeus and Beelzebub conjured a magical barrier for protection. The barrier trembled under Lucifer's assault, cracking as he pushed against it. Beelzebub urged Leviathan and Lilith to chant their magic while he and Asmodeus held off Lucifer. As Elohim sensed the demise of Albion, he instructed Jesus to guard him and the others as he began sealing Albion's soul in the sacred gear, divine dividing. Jesus raised his flaming sword, ready to protect them. Once Leviathan and Lilith completed their incantations, they unleashed their powerful magic. Leviathan called forth a massive wave of water, while Lilith summoned a dark vortex beam. Their combined attacks struck Lucifer, creating a massive dust cloud that enveloped the barrier. The girls were left exhausted, having unleashed tremendous power. Silence fell as Asmodeus searched for Lucifer's presence, eventually realizing he was right in front of them. In a moment of sacrifice, Asmodeus pushed Beelzebub out of harm's way, only to be consumed by Lucifer's gigantic serpent form. Beelzebub, witnessing his friend's fate, erupted in rage, vowing to avenge Asmodeus. With determination, Beelzebub unleashed his magic, firing dark beams at Lucifer, who howled in pain. Meanwhile, Elohim completed the sealing of Albion and summoned holy lightning to strike Lucifer. The pain only fueled Lucifer's fury, transforming him into a wrathful serpent. He retaliated with a powerful whip of his tail, striking everyone, including Beelzebub, who had paused his attack. Lucifer then taunted Beelzebub, demanding his last words. In defiance, Beelzebub raised his middle finger, proclaiming that Lucifer would never win and would fall to the Archangel of Darkness. Moments later, he was consumed by Lucifer. Leviathan, witnessing her husband's demise, roared in fury and began to transform into her true form, declaring her intent to avenge Beelzebub and confront Lucifer in a fierce battle for supremacy. Meanwhile, as Olivia and Drake made their way to the battlefield, they witnessed numerous armies clashing fiercely, which filled Olivia with concern for her father, uncles, and aunts. Upon arriving at the scene, Olivia was shocked to find Leviathan, in her serpent form, defeated by Lucifer, who had overpowered her. As Lucifer roared in triumph, Drake spoke to Olivia with a heavy heart, informing her of the grim reality. Drake expressed his sorrow, revealing that the defeated serpent was no longer alive. Olivia was devastated to learn that her beloved aunt and her mother's dear friend had fallen to Lucifer. Fueled by anger and grief, she resolved to make him pay for his actions, demanding Drake's power to confront him. Drake agreed but reminded her that she needed to seek God's permission before using his strength to defeat Lucifer. Olivia nodded, determined, and together they headed toward God's presence. After Leviathan's defeat, Jesus confronted Lucifer, utilizing his super speed and strength to engage him in battle. Elohim, saddened by the loss of another former child, sensed Olivia's presence behind him and turned to see her standing resolutely with Drake, the Welsh dragon, by her side. Olivia explained her plan to her grandfather, who listened intently. While he believed her strategy had merit, he warned her of the risks involved and the urgency to prevent Lucifer from igniting an all-out war among the pantheons. In another part of the battlefield, Lucifer writhed in pain as Jesus struck at him with precision. Just as Jesus prepared to unleash his final attack, Lucifer retaliated, sending him crashing into the stone, leaving him momentarily incapacitated. Lucifer taunted Jesus, declaring that he could not be defeated in his weakened state. However, Jesus smiled knowingly, pointing behind Lucifer, and urging Olivia to rise against the threat. As Jesus began to fade, transforming into golden particles, Olivia raised her sword, revealing that Jesus' essence had merged with it, creating the powerful Lightborn sword. Lucifer, taken aback, questioned the source of its holy energy. Olivia, now serious and resolute, explained that the sword held both holy and demonic powers, warning him that it was time for everything to come to an end. With the spirits of those who had fought for her surrounding her friends, family, and allies, Olivia felt their strength bolster her resolve. Among them were Elohim, Jesus, Lilith, Leviathan, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, and many others who had sacrificed for her. Enraged, Lucifer charged at Olivia, but her Lightborn sword radiated with a brilliant light as she declared her new purpose. With Draig's voice echoing in her mind, Olivia activated the boosted gear, channeling immense power into her sword. Draig's chant of "boost" resonated endlessly, amplifying her strength. As the energy surged, Olivia prepared for the final confrontation, announcing that it was time to bring an end to Lucifer's reign. With a mighty swing of her sword, she unleashed a torrent of light beams toward Lucifer, who screamed in defiance as he faced the overwhelming force of Olivia's holy attack. The battle concluded with Lucifer's defeat, and his army retreated back to the depths of hell. Both fallen angels and angels celebrated their hard-won victory. In the aftermath, Lilith and Elohim emerged from the Lightborn sword. Lilith expressed her gratitude to Olivia for vanquishing Lucifer, stating that without her, she would never have achieved her revenge. However, she felt the need to find a safe place away from the devils and decided to journey west into the unknown world. Olivia, concerned for her friend, urged her to consider living in Eden instead. Lilith expressed her gratitude to Olivia, acknowledging that living alone in a place filled with bad memories would be difficult for her. With a smile, she reassured Olivia that they would meet again one day before sprouting her devil wings and flying west, leaving them behind. Once Lilith was gone, Olivia turned her attention to her boosted gear, speaking to Draig. Olivia encouraged Draig to find a new partner worthy of wielding his power, someone who would consider him family. Draig agreed, reminding her to be cautious in a world filled with both peace and chaos. He bid farewell to Olivia, severing their connection as an orb was released from her arm, marking his departure to seek a new partner for the next generation. After Draig left, Olivia rushed to her grandfather's side, concerned for his well-being. She found him in pain and coughing, yet he reassured her that he was fine. He revealed that he had only a few moments left to live, having lost his son and others, leaving only Lilith behind. Olivia was devastated, pleading with him not to leave her. Elohim understood her distress but urged her to protect the world from chaos in his absence. He reminded her that her future awaited her and that she should not waste the opportunity for a normal life. As his only successor, he decided to seal her away for 500 years, believing it was the best course of action. Olivia accepted his decision, promising to protect the world and seek her destined one in the future. With his last remaining magic, Elohim sealed Olivia with her Lightborn sword in a hidden place, ensuring she would be safe from the supernatural. As he closed his eyes, a smile graced his face, and his heart gradually ceased to beat, marking the end of the biblical God. Michael and the angels arrived too late, finding their father lifeless on the ground. They mourned deeply for their creator and father, while Azazel and his fallen angels searched for Olivia, only to discover she was gone. Overcome with grief, Azazel felt shattered by the loss of his daughter, having already lost his wife. With no other options, he retreated to the Gremory faction. Years passed as he dedicated himself to researching sacred gears, hoping to find a way to bring Olivia back to life, but to no avail. Meanwhile, others worked hard to honor Olivia's legacy, spreading tales of the Dark Angel who ended the Great War and defeated Lucifer, the first Devil King. In heaven, Michael took on the role of leader, tirelessly guarding the heavens and their systems. Despite the challenges, he continued to work hard for the sake of heaven and earth. Many archangels had perished in the final battle, leaving only a few, including Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. Gabriel began documenting the history of the Great Biblical War, incorporating the legend of the Dark Angel, knowing Olivia would have cherished her story being told. Uriel and Raphael trained their angelic armies, determined to honor Olivia's legacy and remember her courage and smile. In the underworld, the Devil faction was in turmoil over the loss of their leaders. Zekrom Baal, loyal to Lilith, sought to end the war, but many, including the descendants of the 4 Devil Kings, desired to reignite the conflict. Zekrom allied with those loyal to Lilith, leading to the Devil's civil war. After the new Satan faction emerged victorious, the descendants of the Devil Kings fled, vowing revenge and seeking to rebuild their ranks. With the throne claimed, Rias Gremory crowned himself as Lucifer, adopting the name Rias Lucifer. Seraphal Sitri became Leviathan, taking the name Seraphal Leviathan. Ajuka Astaroth crowned himself as Beelzebub, and Falbium Glaciolabilas as Asmodeus. These 4 new Devil Kings pledged to guide their people toward peace and protect them from future threats. 500 years later, in an unknown place, a girl was trapped within a hard crystal, dark chains binding her. This sealed girl was none other than Olivia Gregory, the Archangel of Darkness. She remained in a deep slumber, her reasons for sleep a mystery until she finally awakened. Her crimson eyes glowed as she sensed a presence purer than humans. Though she missed her Uncle Adam, she knew she had to move forward. Soon, she noticed a light as a figure appeared before her. Then the young man regained consciousness, standing with a boosted gear on his left arm. He looked around, feeling disoriented, and muttered to himself about his surroundings. Olivia, who was present, informed him that he was in her sealed prison room. The boy instinctively jumped to his guard, but as he looked at her face, he found himself captivated by her beauty. He expressed his admiration, asking if she was truly an angel. Olivia raised an eyebrow at his compliment, explaining that he was in the presence of the great Archangel of Darkness, the one who ended the biblical war, the daughter of the former Archangel and the Grand Saintess, and the granddaughter of God Elohim. The boy turned pale and bowed deeply, pleading for forgiveness for his sins against humanity. Olivia, slightly amused, asked him to explain the sinful acts he had committed. He recounted his experiences, revealing that devils were using a system to reincarnate humans as devils who would serve their masters for eternity. This revelation darkened Olivia's eyes with fury as she declared that those devils had gone too far, daring to reincarnate humans. She proclaimed that there was only one true God, her grandfather, and vowed not to let them escape her wrath for stealing God's creations. However, when she attempted to unleash her full power, the hard crystal around her divided her strength, preventing her escape. The boy then asked if she could restore his humanity, promising his loyalty in return, vowing to guide her in this new world until his last breath. Olivia was taken aback by his willingness to embrace his human side over his devil side. A smile spread across her face, realizing that even as the Red Dragon Emperor and a devil, he had not forgotten his origins. She agreed to his proposal and asked him to use his strength to free her. The boy prepared himself, raising his left arm with the boosted gear, and declared his determination to set her free. As he called upon Draig for more power, the dragon responded, amplifying his strength. Olivia was astonished to see that the boy wielded a power greater than her own. With newfound strength, he smashed his fist against the hard crystal, shattering it into pieces. Olivia broke free from her chains and sprouted her glowing black and golden wings, revealing her radiant smile as holy light surrounded her. She thanked him for liberating her from her prison and introduced herself as Olivia Gregory, the Dark Angel, Archangel of Darkness, daughter of the fallen angel Azazel and the Grand Saintess Lena Libra, and granddaughter of Elohim, the biblical god. She then asked for his name. The boy introduced himself as Issei Hyoudou, the current Red Dragon Emperor and a low-class devil. In Kuo Town, Issei Hyoudou walked toward Kuo Academy, feeling content with his life. He had a loving family, friends, and teammates, and most importantly, he adored Rias Gremory, the heiress of the Gremory clan. His love for her stemmed from the fact that she had saved him from certain death. Grateful for her help, he also sought to rescue a nun named Asia from a rogue fallen angel. Even though Rias initially refused, She still supported him by sending her members to assist in the rescue. Ultimately, Rias revived Asia as a devil using the bishop's evil pieces, deepening Issei's admiration for her. Despite his commitment to help Rias, Issei faced challenges, including a defeat in the raiding game. He ventured into the underworld to save her from an unwanted marriage, claiming her as his own. Surzek's Lucifer supported Issei, allowing him a rematch against Riser Phoenix. Although Riser cheated using a holy artifact, Issei unlocked an incomplete balance breaker, the scale mail, and emerged victorious. He chose to spare Riser's life at Ravel Phoenix's request and took Rias back to the human world using a griffin provided by Surzek. Their escape culminated in a passionate kiss, solidifying their love for one another. As Issei entered the school gate, he sensed something unusual and paused to survey his surroundings. He inquired with Draig if he sensed the strange energy nearby, to which Draig confirmed that he did, though its source remained unknown. Not only that, he knew who owned that strange energy. This revelation left Issei in shock. He was not prepared to face the vanishing dragon, but Draig, exasperated, clarified that it was not the vanishing dragon he needed to worry about, it was the presence of the Dark Angel. Issei had always disliked the term fallen angel, but he was puzzled by Draig's choice of words. Curious, Issei asked why Draig referred to her as the Dark Angel instead of the fallen angel. Draig promised to explain later but reminded Issei that he was late for school. Realizing the time, Issei rushed inside, only to face a punishment from his teacher. He had to write a 300-word essay about his lateness. After classes, Issei headed to the Occult Research Club, having been summoned by Rias for a private discussion. He settled onto the sofa, waiting for the others, and recalled Draig's promise to share more information. He asked Draig to elaborate on the Dark Angel and why he seemed so concerned about her. Draig sighed and began to recount the true story of the Great Biblical War, revealing that the narrative Rias had shared was only partially true. The devils had withheld information about the Dark Angel due to their fear of her. Draig explained that many years ago, before the Great Biblical War, angels, fallen angels, and devils were not present. According to rumors, an archangel had saved a human princess from a cruel fate, taking her to the heavens. This union resulted in a daughter, the first angel born of an archangel and a grand saintess. She possessed 6 black and gold wings and a pair of horn-like features, radiating a holy aura akin to that of God. Tragically, the grand saintess died during childbirth, leaving the archangel heartbroken, yet he raised his daughter with love. Issei began to understand why Draig referred to her as the Dark Angel. She was born of an archangel and a grand saintess, which was unexpected. Draig continued, explaining that as the Dark Angel grew, she became known as the strongest angel, surpassing even archangels in power. Her strength was on par with God, earning her the respect of all. During a rebellion in heaven, she faced Lucifer and defeated him, banishing him and 72 angels to hell. She also enforced God's command by expelling the first humans from the Garden of Eden for eating the forbidden fruit. Ultimately, she banished her father and other angels who had committed sins of lust, leading her father, Azazel, to become the leader of the fallen angels. Issei realized that Azazel was the same person the Dark Angel had mentioned before her demise. Draig confirmed this, noting that the Dark Angel loved her father dearly. After banishing her father and the Grigori, she dedicated herself to training and expanding her knowledge of the world until the war began. Both sides engaged in an all-out battle, suffering heavy losses. The Dark Angel, now known as the Archangel of Darkness, confronted the 5 pillars of hell, extinguishing them without mercy in just 3 days. This victory caused an uproar among the factions, with the angels and fallen angels mocking the devil faction for their failure against an Archangel of Darkness. Draig also mentioned that she had defeated a mutated undead knight who had previously killed an archangel named Haniel and that she had been present during Draig's fight with Albion. Issei was amazed, expressing his desire to meet her. However, he was taken aback by the destruction she had wrought upon the 5 pillars and the mutated knight. It was clear why many devils were hesitant to share this information. He was also shocked to learn that she had been there during Draig's confrontation with Albion, questioning whether she had nearly defeated them both. Drake reassured him that she had not, but he had to raise his voice to get Issei to quiet down. He explained that she had come to finish them off, but Albion had gone berserk and attempted to attack her. She had effortlessly subdued him and was immune to his venom. Drake found humor in the way she had dealt with Albion, but he also respected the rules of their kind. In the end, he and the Dark Angel had teamed up to defeat Albion. Issei realized that Drake held a deep respect for her, which was evident in his tone. Drake confirmed this, noting that after defeating Albion, his soul was placed into the sacred gear by God. Drake and the Dark Angel then participated in the final battle alongside 3 Satans, Leviathan, Beelzebub, and Asmodeus, along with Lilith, Lucifer's wife. Another lie from Rias was the reason why 3 Satans, Leviathan, Beelzebub, and Asmodeus had perished in the war. They had sought to stop Lucifer from engaging in the supernatural world wars. After their demise, Lilith was no longer in a condition to fight, and God was unable to intervene either. The only option left was his son, Jesus Christ. However, even Jesus could not defeat Lucifer, so they needed someone else to face him, just as before. Issei realized that the one who could defeat Lucifer was the Archangel of Darkness. Drake confirmed this, explaining that to defeat Lucifer, God had sealed him in the boosted gear and allowed the Archangel of Darkness to wield his power, as she was part human and had been his first wielder. Together, they created the Lightborn sword using her mother's power, the Lightborn power. This weapon could vanquish many gods with a single strike, serving as an anti-fortress weapon and the God Slayer. With their combined powers, they defeated Lucifer, forcing his army of devils to retreat back to hell. Afterward, Drake and the Archangel parted ways, as he trusted her promise that he could find someone who would treat him like family. Issei was curious about what had happened to her. Drake revealed that she was nowhere to be found, and though he understood Issei's shock, he too had no idea of her current whereabouts. He hoped to meet her again, believing he was the only one who could follow her trace. Issei wanted to know her name, as he had never encountered it in any history books or the Bible. Just as Drake was about to reveal it, Rias Gremory, Issei's master, entered the room. Rias apologized for her absence, explaining that she had been busy with her studies. She then sat down at her desk, preparing to share something important with Issei. Issei wondered what it could be, but Rias's next words shattered his heart. She informed him that he was officially kicked out of her peerage. She explained that even before he was considered a member, she had questioned whether he truly belonged. His performance had been shameful and disgraceful, and he was too weak to stand against someone like Riser or his peerage members. Despite possessing the boosted gear, he had failed to defeat a high-class devil on his own. Rias expressed her disappointment, stating that he was bringing shame to her clan's name and that it was best for him to leave her peerage. She insisted that as his king, he must follow her orders, leaving Issei heartbroken. He reluctantly decided to comply and walked away. Rias sighed, feeling relieved to be free of him, and returned to her paperwork, unaware of the pain she had caused Issei. She prioritized her status as an heiress over her feelings for him. Later, Issei found himself in a park, overwhelmed by frustration, anger, and sadness. He couldn't believe that after everything he had done for Rias, she had disowned him like a mere tool. In that moment, he vowed never to trust corrupted devils like her again. He cursed her, realizing that her intentions for reviving him had been selfish, aimed at acquiring his sacred gear. Drake intervened, warning him that if he let his anger consume him, he could activate the Juggernaut drive and cause chaos in the town, potentially harming those he loved. Issei took a deep breath, calming down thanks to Drake's words. Issei then expressed his desire to escape his life as a devil. Drake suggested a way to remove his evil pieces, which shocked Issei. Drake explained that to rid himself of his devil side, he would need to swear loyalty to the Archangel of Darkness and become her guardian. If he proved himself worthy, she could destroy the evil pieces within him and restore his humanity, evolving him into something akin to a grand saint. Issei was intrigued but questioned how they would find her. Drake instructed him to look down, revealing a black hole beneath him. As Issei peered into it, he exclaimed in disbelief before falling into the vortex, screaming as he spiraled downward. After being tossed through the black hole, Issei found himself in a dark room, confused and in pain. He called out, unsure of where he was, until he heard a beautiful female voice. The girl informed him that he was in her sealed prison room. Startled, Issei jumped to his feet, taking in her stunning appearance, red eyes, blonde hair, and a pair of horns atop her head. She was trapped in a hard crystal, chains binding her body. Despite her predicament, he couldn't help but admire her beauty and asked if she was truly an angel. The girl raised an eyebrow, acknowledging his compliment but revealing that she was, in fact, the great archangel of darkness. The one who ended the biblical war, the daughter of the former archangel and the grand saintess, and the granddaughter of God. Elohim, the biblical God, addressed Issei, who paled as he recalled Draig's words about the legend of the dark angel. Issei, feeling overwhelmed, bowed deeply before her, expressing his remorse for what he believed to be a grave sin against humanity. The dark angel, noticing his distress, urged him to calm down and explain the nature of his actions. Issei struggled to find the right words until Draig spoke to him in his mind, reassuring him that the dark angel could assist him with his problems. Draig reminded Issei of her history, how she had guided many heroes mentioned in the Bible, and encouraged him to trust her. Gathering his courage, Issei shared his experiences from his previous life and the challenges he faced in the supernatural world, including the workings of the devil's system, which required servitude for eternity. As he finished, he noticed the dark angel's eyes glowing a dark red, reflecting her fury. Issei felt a wave of anxiety wash over him, questioning whether he had gone too far. Draig clarified that her anger was directed at the actions of the devils who had manipulated God's creations, the humans. He explained that the dark angel, being half human, felt emotions deeply, which fueled her rage against the devil's actions. The dark angel expressed her outrage at the devils for reincarnating humans into their ranks, declaring that there was only one true God, her grandfather, and she would not allow them to evade her wrath. As she unleashed her power, a hard crystal contained her strength, preventing her from breaking free. Issei contemplated her feelings towards the reincarnated devils, wondering if she wanted to protect them from the devil's influence. He turned to Draig, seeking guidance on how he could assist her. Draig suggested that Issei could make a deal with her, swearing loyalty in exchange for her protection of humanity, including Issei and his family. Feeling this was the right moment, Issei approached the dark angel with a request. He asked if she could restore his humanity, pledging his loyalty to her and promising to guide her in this new world until his last breath. The dark angel, surprised by his words, accepted his request. She instructed him to use his strength to free her from her prison. Issei, determined, called upon Draig for more power to set her free. Draig responded with an overwhelming surge of energy, chanting boosts that empowered Issei. With a mighty shout, he moved his boosted gear against the crystal, shattering it and freeing the dark angel. As the chains fell away, her magnificent form emerged, her black and golden wings glowing brightly. The dark angel introduced herself as Olivia Gregory, the Archangel of Darkness, daughter of the former Archangel Azazel and the Grand Saintess Lena Libra, and granddaughter of Elohim. Issei, captivated by her presence, introduced himself as the current Red Dragon Emperor and a low-class devil. Olivia, descending gracefully, cupped Issei's face in her hands, expressing her interest in him. She declared that from that moment on, he was hers and that they would treat each other as equals, establishing a bond beyond master and servant. Issei blushed at her words, feeling a rush of emotions. He stammered, questioning how they could be lovers when they hardly knew each other. Olivia reassured him that the holy light had guided her to him as her destined partner, affirming their connection. She posed a choice to him: to be with her, who promised love and protection, or to remain with Rias Gremory, who had previously hurt him. Draig, sensing Issei's uncertainty, advised him to choose Olivia over Rias, emphasizing the importance of loyalty and love. Issei received valuable advice from Draig and gradually accepted it, turning to Olivia with newfound determination. He expressed his feelings, telling her that she was the one he truly wanted. Her beautiful voice and charming face captivated him, making his heart race. He declared his love for her, promising that his heart would always belong to her. Olivia felt a rush of warmth at his words, despite having never experienced a romantic relationship before. She responded with sincerity, affirming her love for Issei and assuring him that she would always be there to protect him as his guardian angel. She also reminded him that he was now her guardian knight. To regain his humanity, she instructed him to pull the Lightborn sword from the crystal nearby. Determined, Issei approached the sword and grasped its hilt with his left hand, activating his boosted gear. However, despite his efforts, the sword remained firmly in place. He turned to Olivia for help, and she stepped forward, attempting to pull the sword out with both hands but found it just as stuck. Confused, she pondered the situation before realizing that she might not be worthy to wield the sword. Issei questioned her reasoning, recalling the legends of her past. Olivia explained that although she had wielded the sword before, her attempts now proved unsuccessful, suggesting that the sword had chosen Issei instead. She advised him to mimic her stance, using both hands to pull it out, as that was the proper way to claim its power. Understanding her guidance, Issei gripped the hilt of the Lightborn sword with both hands. As he did, a tremor shook the ground, signaling the arrival of a new era. Olivia cheered him on, encouraging him to keep pulling. With each effort, the tremors intensified, sending shockwaves through the surrounding realms. In heaven, Michael felt the tremors and sensed a powerful holy aura unlike anything he had encountered before. He realized that the Archangel of Darkness had returned, bringing a mix of joy and concern among the angels. While some feared it was God's wrath, others rejoiced at the return of their strongest ally. In the fallen angel territory, Azazel knelt in joy, grateful that his daughter had come back. He worried about the consequences if she discovered that her teacher and uncle had gone rogue in the human world. Meanwhile, a silver-haired girl named Valiana Lucifer sat nearby, curious about Azazel's daughter. Albion, communicating with her telepathically, warned her of the Archangel of Darkness's power and advised against any confrontation, as she had a notorious history of defeating powerful foes during the Great Biblical War. Back in the Devil's territory, Surzex Lucifer and his wife, Graphia Lucifuge, sensed the overwhelming holy energy nearby. The intensity of the aura was so great that even the most powerful devils struggled to withstand it, leaving them bewildered by the sudden surge of power. "Do you feel that power?" Surzex asked his wife, noticing her heavy panting as she struggled to handle the overwhelming energy. Graphia responded, acknowledging the immense force they sensed, which felt like the wrath of a deity unleashed upon them. Surzex paled at the thought and expressed his concern about their actions in the human world, lamenting that the councils had ignored his warnings against claiming territory in Kuo Town. He instructed Graphia to inform Rias and the others that they needed to return to the underworld immediately. Graphia, however, raised a concern about Seraphal's little sister, suggesting that both of them should return to safety. Surzex reassured her that Seraphal was already aware and would retrieve her sister and her peerage from the human world. He emphasized his responsibility to protect the underworld from the impending divine wrath. Graphia hurried off to fetch Rias and her group, while Surzex contemplated the situation, fearing the arrival of the Archangel of Darkness, who could bring destruction upon them. Outside the underworld, many devils were in a state of panic, fearing they would face annihilation as rumors spread about the Archangel of Darkness. While some dismissed it as myth, the truth was that the legend was real, and no one knew when she would strike. Meanwhile, Olivia and Issei were experiencing a transformation. As Issei pulled the Lightborn sword from the crystal, a brilliant light enveloped Olivia, who shielded herself with her wings. She heard Issei scream but was uncertain of what had happened. When the light faded, she uncovered her wings and gasped at Issei's complete transformation. His Lightborn sword had changed, and he now wore magnificent armor, resembling a true hero or knight. Olivia, in awe, remarked on Issei's new appearance, noting how handsome he looked, like a knight in shining armor. Issei smiled, claiming he was indeed her knight and vowed to protect her from any man. Olivia blushed at his words but quickly shifted the conversation, asking if he felt any changes within himself. She noticed he no longer emitted a demonic aura and watched as he dropped 8 shattered pieces of an evil pawn piece onto the ground. Issei explained that those remnants were all that remained of his devil self. He revealed that he had evolved into a new being, though he was unsure of what he had become. Drag informed them that Issei was now a half-human, half-dragon hybrid, similar to Olivia's own mixed heritage. Olivia was astonished to learn that Issei possessed a grand hero's will, making him a destined hero capable of facing great threats. Issei expressed his surprise at being a hero meant to save humanity, to which Olivia confirmed. However, she pointed out that he lacked sword-fighting skills and offered to be his personal trainer, warning him that she would be strict during their training. Issei, feeling a mix of fear and determination, nodded in agreement. With their new mission set, Olivia and Issei were teleported to a desert wasteland, where Issei wondered about their training location. Drag explained that they were in the Sonoran Desert in Mexico, emphasizing that this was part of Issei's training routine. He encouraged Issei to survive and assured him of his support. Olivia reminded Issei of Drag's words and pulled out 2 fallen swords, insisting that the training was for his benefit. Issei sighed, realizing that even his prayers for help might not be answered, and readied himself for the challenge ahead, adopting a battle stance reminiscent of a legendary swordsman. Olivia acknowledged his impressive stance, ready to begin their training. She challenged Issei to keep up with her as she dashed towards him, swords at the ready. Issei gripped his sword, which began to glow, catching Olivia's attention. With a swift motion, he slashed the air, sending a shockwave toward her. Olivia leaped into the air, narrowly evading the attack, and landed gracefully on the ground. She was surprised by Issei's sudden display of skill and complimented him on it. As she reappeared in front of him, she delivered a swift kick to his stomach, causing him to gasp in pain. Olivia took the opportunity to impart some crucial advice. She emphasized the importance of never letting his guard down, even in victory. She advised him to always be aware of his surroundings, to look for traps, and to identify his enemy's weaknesses. Olivia stressed the need for strategy, cautioning against reckless attacks that could endanger both himself and his teammates. She warned him to avoid arrogance, to reserve his strongest attacks for when they were truly necessary, and to always fight alongside his allies, as abandoning them could lead to dire consequences. Issei listened intently to her words, absorbing the wisdom she shared. Once he regained his composure, he stood up, ready for another round of training. He expressed his determination to protect her, stating that he would do whatever it took to achieve his goal, even if it meant facing gods as enemies. His seriousness conveyed his willingness to push beyond his limits for her sake. Olivia smiled, encouraged by his resolve. She declared that as his Archangel of Darkness, she would personally train him to become the strongest Lightborn warrior of heaven and earth. With that, the two engaged in their training, both committed to becoming the most powerful beings in the world. They can also be immune to death when they engage in battle. Dragon Form. Class 1, Giant Wyvern-like Dragon. Status unlocked. Class 2, True Red Dragon Emperor. Status locked. Final Class, Divine Dragon God of Apocalypse. Codename, Bahamut. Status locked. Name, Olivia Gregory. Age, 17 years old, in her appearance, 500 or 600 years old, true age. Gender, female. Race, Dark Angel, 2-3 Angel and 1-3 Human, Archangel of Darkness. Likes, her lover, guardian and soon-to-be husband Issei Hyoudou, Issei's harem members, whom she treats as sisters, Issei's family, her father and the Gregory members, Michael and the Archangels, her grandfather Elohim, good humans, good devils like Lilith, Ingviled Leviathan, and Surzex Lucifer, delicious foods, especially ice cream, her mother's Bible, the only gift from her mother, and many more. Dislikes, Rias Gremory, for destroying Issei's life and freedom and neglecting the people in Kuo who were harmed by stray devils and rogue fallen. Rizvam and his minions, evil gods, war, the 7 deadly sins, especially betrayal, corrupted devils and humans, hero factions, and many more. Books, weapons. Lightborn Sword. Status, no longer used since Issei is the new holder of the Lightborn Sword. Twin Long Sword, Fallen Sword. Skills abilities. Light and dark power magic. Enhanced strength. Enhanced speed. Strong durability. Strong senses, eyesight, smelling, and hearing. High magic defense. High physical defense. High stamina. Enhanced intelligence. Expert swordsman. Magic teleportation. Flight superiority. Immortality. Sterling Sea Olivia can deal significant damage to enemies while healing and preventing them from using magic for 30 minutes. In Nevermore, this skill grants Olivia 100% power, maximizing her stats and providing immunity while debuffing all magic curses around her. End of All Hope. This skill allows Olivia to deal high damage at 50% power to a single enemy and 50% power with a 25% critical chance against multiple enemies, slowing them down while draining their life force over 5 minutes. If an enemy is near death, she can use it as a finishing blow. End of Apocalypse. Olivia can unleash a devastating anti-fortress attack that cannot be stopped. Even without her Lightborn sword, she can wield her Fallen sword, which is on par with holy and demonic swords like Durandal and Excalibur. Wrath of the Dark Angel. This is Olivia's strongest skill, believed to allow her to fight against a god or a primordial god. She has a high chance of facing a dragon god or the beast of Apocalypse, Trihexa. Currently, she can use it continuously due to her bond with Issei. Draconic Angel Bonds. When Olivia and Issei are bonded, they become more powerful and unstoppable, gaining immunity to death in battle. Angel Forms. Class 1, Normal Form. Class 2, Wrath of the Dark Angel. Love Interest, Issei Hyoudou. It had been 14 days since Issei had been trained by his lover Olivia. Through her rigorous lessons, he mastered every movement and battle skill, including his strongest skill, Fission Wave, which enhanced his fighting abilities. He even learned to drain life from his enemies and unleashed a powerful shockwave that destroyed a large mountain. However, Olivia scolded him for using too much power in the process, resulting in 3 days of double training. Some of his powers remained locked for the future. Now, Issei and Olivia rested atop the Brown Mountain. Issei was the first to speak, expressing his relief at the beautiful day and asking Olivia if she had ever been to the human world. Olivia confirmed that she had, sharing that her grandfather often sent her on missions there. She recounted a time when she helped Moses free the Israelites from slavery, observing from a distance in Egypt. Issei understood why Olivia was mentioned in the stories Drake had told him and asked if she had been to Bethlehem when Jesus was born. Olivia smiled, recalling her first sight of the newborn baby, only to realize with embarrassment that the baby was her grandfather's son, making him her new uncle. Issei laughed heartily at her reaction, prompting Olivia to blush and admonish him for laughing at her. She then prayed for forgiveness, leaving Issei and Drake with blank expressions. Issei wondered why Olivia would pray for forgiveness for something so trivial, while Drake pointed out that it was Issei's fault for teasing her. Drake then asked when Issei would take Olivia to his hometown, and Issei decided to take her the following morning. Drake reminded him to protect her from harm, warning that someone might seek her power for their own nefarious plans. Issei expressed gratitude for the warning, and Drake, feeling emotional about Issei growing up, shed tears of joy. Issei turned his attention to Olivia and suggested that they visit Kuo Town and perhaps meet his parents, expressing his belief that they would be pleased to meet her. Olivia responded, teasingly pointing out that he wanted her to introduce herself as his girlfriend. She then revealed their marriage certificate, playfully noting that they were officially a married couple unless he needed to buy wedding rings for them both. This revelation caused Issei to faint, collapsing to the ground. Olivia checked on him, calling out his name in concern. Issei mumbled to himself, expressing his lack of regrets about marrying Olivia, which made her sigh in exasperation at his antics. She expressed her desire for a real wedding in the future, where they could celebrate with everyone, and shared her sadness about loved ones who had passed away, hoping they found peace in the afterlife. She gently placed Issei's head on her lap, and they both drifted off to sleep peacefully. The next morning, Issei woke up first, still processing the previous day's events. He recalled Olivia's mention of the marriage certificate and thought it would be a good idea to marry her. He decided they should enjoy their date before introducing her to his parents and seeking their consent for marriage, which would make her his legal wife. As Olivia woke up, she apologized for oversleeping. Issei reassured her that everything was fine and suggested they head to Kuo town. Olivia's eyes sparkled with joy at the idea. They prepared for their departure, with Issei holding her waist and Olivia gripping his armor chest plate. Once ready, they teleported away from the desert. Upon arriving in Kuo town, they felt relieved to be back in the human world. Issei reminded Olivia that they needed to change their attire to avoid drawing attention to his armor and her wings and horns. Olivia smirked, noting that hiding her wings was easy, but she had to remove her horn, revealing it to be a headband with a horn design. Issei was surprised to learn that her horns were not real, leading Olivia to explain the story behind her headband, a gift from her grandfather after an accident involving her father's failed experiment. Issei admired Olivia's beauty without her horns and wings, complimenting her appearance and attaching a beautiful clip to her hair, making her look like a goddess in his eyes. Olivia blushed at the compliment, and after Issei changed into casual clothes, she admitted he looked good. He then offered his hand, inviting her on their date. Olivia reminded him that they should meet his parents, but Issei insisted they should get to know each other better first. Their first stop was the arcade, where they had a great time playing games. Olivia won a red dragon plushie, which delighted her, as she loved red dragons for their symbolism of love, courage, and life. Issei was grateful to Drake for his support, feeling lucky to have him as a brother. Next, they visited a restaurant that offered a variety of delicious foods. Issei took a tip from Drake and ordered 2 scoops of ice cream and an ice pop, sharing 1 scoop with Olivia. After paying for their treats, they enjoyed their ice cream together, savoring the moment. Although, when Issei looked at Olivia, he couldn't resist her cuteness as she enjoyed her ice cream and ice pop, a bright smile lighting up her face. He remarked on her adorableness, noting how cute she was as she liked her ice cream and looked at him with a questioning expression. Issei mentioned that he had just wiped some cream from her cheek, teasing her about her apparent obsession with ice cream. Olivia explained that the summer heat had driven her to seek something cold, and this was her first experience with this new snack. She expressed her delight in the cold, delicious treat, and Issei could only smile at her enthusiasm as they continued to enjoy their snacks together. Later, they found themselves shopping for new clothes. Issei had finished picking out his outfit and was waiting outside the girls' changing room when Olivia called for him to check on her clothing. When he entered, he was taken aback by Olivia in a cute bikini adorned with black, white, and golden accents, her beauty shining through. He felt a rush of admiration as he gave her a thumbs up, unable to contain his excitement. Olivia playfully mentioned that she wanted her future husband to appreciate her appearance, reminding him that she was an archangel of darkness. She urged him to keep his composure while they were at the mall, hinting at a more NTMT moment they could share later. With a teasing push, she sent him out of the changing room to change. As Olivia finished her shopping, they headed to the cashier to pay for their clothes. Issei suddenly remembered he needed a ring, thinking an engagement ring would be perfect since they were planning to get married. He asked Olivia to wait for a moment, giving her a quick kiss on the cheek before heading to the accessory shop. Olivia touched her cheek, feeling a blush at his affectionate gesture. When Issei returned, he apologized for taking longer than expected, explaining that he got a bit lost. Olivia, unfazed, suggested they go somewhere else, and he took her hand as they walked together. At the park near the fountain, Issei looked at Olivia and confessed his feelings. He expressed gratitude for her presence in his life, how she had helped him heal from his past, and how much he appreciated her kindness and love. He knelt down, revealing a red ring box that made Olivia gasp in surprise. Issei asked her to marry him, and overwhelmed with joy, Olivia covered her face as she cried happy tears. She eagerly accepted his proposal, offering her left hand for the ring. Issei gently placed the ring on her finger, sealing their vow to be together forever. They shared a tender kiss, unaware that they were being watched by Kaneko Tuju, who was shocked to see Issei with Olivia and the engagement ring. She contemplated reporting this to her president but was suddenly trapped by an anti-magic barrier surrounding the park. Feeling a holy presence, Kaneko turned to see Olivia transformed into a dark angel, her wings spread wide and a fallen sword in her hands. Issei stood beside her, clad in armor and holding a holy sword. Kaneko, filled with fear, questioned Olivia's identity and her connection to Issei. Olivia firmly declared her difference from fallen angels, explaining her unique heritage and her commitment to protecting Issei. She warned Kaneko that she had crossed a line by entering their world and offered a swift resolution to the confrontation. However, Issei intervened, urging Olivia not to harm someone who was defenseless, reminding her that Kaneko was also a reincarnated devil like him. There were other reincarnated devils living in this human world, just like her. Olivia calmed herself before sheathing her sword into its scabbard and then ordered Kaneko as she had intended. She expressed her gratitude that her beloved guardian had stopped her from taking drastic action against the half-devil and Nikomata. Kaneko was visibly shocked as Olivia continued, instructing her to relay a message to her master. Olivia warned that they needed to leave Kuo Town in 2 weeks. If they refused, she, the Archangel of Darkness, would show no mercy. She declared that even the current Satans would be humiliated by her power, especially since Issei had transformed into a formidable being. Olivia commanded Kaneko to leave immediately, and the frightened Nikomata nodded before running away. With a snap of her fingers, Olivia dispersed the barrier and transformed into her human form. She then addressed Issei with a caring tone, asking if they should head home. Issei, now dressed casually, agreed as they made their way to his house, carrying their recent purchases from the mall. Meanwhile, at Kuo Academy in the ORC house, Kiba and Akino were busy with paperwork, while Rias was deep in thought about what Grafia had told her earlier. In a flashback, Rias had reacted with shock to the news that her brother had ordered Grafia to bring her and the others back to the underworld to avoid God's impending wrath. Rias protested, insisting that they were capable of protecting their territory. Grafia, frustrated, emphasized that the orders came from Lucifer for their own safety, warning that disobedience could lead to dire consequences. Rias, however, was resolute in her refusal, determined to confront God herself. Grafia, having reached her limit, chose to leave without further comment. Back in the present, Rias sighed, questioning why such troubles were befalling them. Her thoughts were interrupted when Kaneko barged in, traumatized and collapsing onto the sofa. Rias rushed to her side, alarmed by her condition, and Kiba and Akino quickly followed to check on her. Kiba inquired about what had happened, but Rias was at a loss for words. Akino speculated that Kaneko might have been attacked by a stray devil or fallen angel, but Kaneko interjected, revealing that the Archangel of Darkness was coming for them. She warned that they had 2 weeks to leave the human world or face dire consequences. Kaneko expressed her fear of death, repeating her distress. Rias, angered by the threat from a follower of heaven, vowed to confront the Archangel of Darkness for harming her peerage member. Akino and Kiba, aware of the legends surrounding the Dark Angel, silently prayed for their safety and hoped Rias would not put herself in danger. After leaving the park, Issei and Olivia arrived at Hyoudu's residence, where Issei's parents and Asia Argento lived. Upon entering, they encountered Miki, Issei's mother, who was surprised to see 2 unfamiliar faces. Issei called out to her, but Miki did not recognize her son due to his changed appearance. Issei face-bombed, realizing he had forgotten to mention his transformation. Olivia smiled nervously at the prospect of meeting Issei's mother, who would soon become her mother-in-law. Issei introduced himself, and Miki was shocked to see her son again. She expressed her concern for his well-being, having worried about him. After a heartfelt hug, Issei attempted to introduce Olivia, but she took the initiative to introduce herself, addressing Miki as her future mother-in-law. Miki, confused, asked Issei for clarification. With a sigh, Issei revealed that he and Olivia were now engaged, showing her the rings they wore. Miki was taken aback by the news and fainted, prompting panic from Issei and Olivia. Olivia urged Issei to help her carry Miki inside, and together they laid her down on the couch in the living room. Then another person came down from upstairs, Goro, Issei's father. When Goro arrived, he saw Miki lying on the couch with 2 people nervously waving their hands in greeting. Goro asked who they were, and Issei face-bombed, realizing they had to reintroduce themselves to his father once again. After Issei and Olivia reintroduced themselves, Goro expressed his happiness about Issei's return home. He was especially pleased that Issei would marry Olivia when the time came. Goro laughed heartily, celebrating his son's engagement to a beautiful foreign lady. Issei explained how Olivia had always been there for him, helping him with his problems. He shared that he had confessed his love to her, and they had gone on a date in Kuo town, where he had given her an engagement ring. Olivia returned, carrying a tray with 3 beers and a glass of wine, placing it on the table. She suggested they drink together, and Goro eagerly agreed, questioning if Olivia could handle beer. Olivia smirked and took a sip, explaining that her father was an alcoholic who could drink more than most. Issei, surprised by this revelation, decided to take on the challenge of drinking with her, claiming it was for the honor of their family's name. Miki woke up and grabbed the wineglass, stating that she preferred wine over beer. She encouraged Olivia to win the drinking contest against Issei and Goro, who all laughed and cheered before continuing their drinks. After the contest, Goro was the first to faint after consuming 8 beers. Meanwhile, Olivia and Issei pushed on, with Olivia becoming quite tipsy while Issei maintained his composure due to his dragon heritage. Olivia questioned how Issei could resist the effects of the beer, and he proudly declared his victory after finishing his 16th drink. Just as Olivia attempted to take another drink, she fainted on the table, conceding the contest. Issei triumphantly announced his win and decided to carry Olivia to his room. Miki watched her son with a sigh, reflecting on how he had grown into a fine man. She realized they were engaged and playfully wished for grandchildren, expressing her excitement about the prospect. When Issei laid Olivia on the bed, she hugged him and cast a soundproof barrier around them. Issei was taken aback, sensing something unusual. He told her he would sleep on the floor while she took the bed, but Olivia, still inebriated, pulled him closer. As Issei tried to maintain his composure, he was surprised by Olivia's boldness. She asked if she looked beautiful, striking poses that left him flustered. Overwhelmed by his feelings, Issei admired her beauty, realizing how special she was to him. In that moment, Issei felt a rush of emotions, knowing they were at a pivotal point in their relationship. He embraced the moment, cherishing the connection they shared, and prepared to navigate the next steps together. Something was approaching, and Olivia used her magic to reveal her horns once more. Issei, captivated, held onto her horn as they shared an NTMT moment. Olivia felt warmth envelop her as she expressed her gratitude for the special gift she had received for her birthday. As Issei released his grip, she separated from him, savoring the remnants of their connection. Olivia playfully teased Issei, asking if he was enjoying himself. In response, Issei pinned her down on the bed, leaning closer to whisper in her ear. He remarked on her boldness, calling her his alluring dark angel and indicating that it was now his turn to take charge. A shiver ran down Olivia's spine, signaling both excitement and anticipation. With a hint of mischief, Issei asked her to repeat herself, wanting to hear her desires more clearly. Olivia, feeling emboldened, declared her wishes loudly, revealing a side of herself that surprised even Issei. He aligned himself with her, preparing for their first true encounter together. With a swift motion, he entered her, and Olivia gasped, feeling the intensity of the moment as she clutched the bedsheets. As they shifted positions, Olivia took the lead, kissing Issei passionately while he explored her form. The excitement of the moment brought forth unexpected sensations, and Issei noted her reaction with delight. Their connection deepened as they shared their desires, and Olivia expressed her longing for a future together. Issei, feeling a surge of emotion, declared his commitment to Olivia, promising to take responsibility for their bond. As they embraced, the warmth of their connection enveloped them, and Olivia felt a sense of fulfillment. After their moment together, Issei playfully suggested they could continue their exploration. Draig, observing from within, expressed his jealousy but also congratulated them on their newfound connection. He reminded Issei of the responsibilities that came with their actions, but Issei remained resolute in his commitment to Olivia and their future. Outside Issei's room, the sounds of their shared moments filled the air, a testament to their bond. Meanwhile, in heaven, Michael grappled with the implications of Olivia's choices. Gabriel reassured him that Olivia, being a special angel, would not fall from grace despite her actions. As they discussed the situation, Michael decided to send 2 inexperienced exorcists to retrieve the Excaliburs, though Gabriel cautioned against it. Michael, however, was determined and suggested sending an expert to assist. Gabriel realized the implications of his choice and voiced her concerns, but Michael was resolute in his decision, knowing that they needed to act swiftly. As they strategized, the unfolding events in Kuo took on a new significance, especially with Olivia's involvement. Although Olivia had formed a bond with the current Red Dragon Emperor, it meant that he was now an ally of heaven. The leader expressed hope that God had granted them salvation for both heaven and earth as he and Gabriel prayed for Olivia and the Red Dragon Emperor to have a happy life together. In the underworld, within the Gregory territory, Azazel reflected on his daughter's growth. He gazed at a picture of his late wife, Lena Libra, wishing she could witness their daughter's new life with her partner. He promised to guide her on her new path before heading out to check on her in the human world. In an unknown territory of another world, a blonde girl was busy with paperwork when another girl entered her office. The newcomer, Jean, reported a problem in their northern territory involving strange technology created by the sirens, resembling a gate to another place. The blonde girl, as the leader, instructed Jean to gather the rest of the fleet to destroy the siren technology, emphasizing the need to protect their holy land from potential ambushes by the Ironbloods. Jean raised concerns about their allies, but the leader explained that they were unable to contact them due to new conflicts arising from the Sakura Empire declaring war on the Eagle Union. They would have to handle the situation on their own. After Jean left to prepare the fleet, the blonde girl sighed, pondering over a name she had come across in her paperwork, Lena Libra. She hoped for salvation for humanity and wondered about her sister, Jean, wishing to mend their relationship. As the sun rose, the events from the previous night between the Dark Angel and the Lightborn Red Dragon Emperor lingered in the air. Issei woke up early, feeling something heavy on his chest, which turned out to be Olivia, who was peacefully resting. He expressed his gratitude to her for always being by his side and vowed to be her guardian for life. Olivia awoke with a smile, sharing her happiness about their time together. Issei proposed the idea of enrolling Olivia in his school, which excited her as she had always wanted to learn and perhaps start a club related to the church. However, when Issei mentioned the student council president, Sona Citri, Olivia's demeanor shifted, and she jokingly threatened to harm Sona, revealing her disdain for devils. Issei quickly defended Sona, explaining that not all devils were evil and that some sought a peaceful life. Olivia reluctantly accepted his perspective but warned that she would not hesitate to protect them if threatened. Curious about Issei's family, Olivia inquired about his sister, having seen a picture of them together. Issei explained that Asia was his adopted sister, a former nun who had been excommunicated for healing a devil. He recounted the challenges they faced, including a past encounter with rogue fallen angels and the painful memories surrounding Asia's revival as a devil. He reassured Olivia that Asia was safe, though she often stayed late at the ORC clubhouse. Olivia expressed her hope to meet Asia soon, looking forward to the future. She was indeed worthy to be a follower of God, as she said to him. Mickey entered the room without knocking, calling for her son Issei and her daughter-in-law Olivia. She noticed them both in bed and decided to give them some privacy. Mickey apologized, reminding them that they still needed to attend school that day, and playfully asked them not to make her a grandmother too soon before she left the room. Downstairs, Mickey exclaimed to her husband Goru, expressing her surprise at finding Issei and Olivia together. She mentioned the scent of love lingering in the air and speculated that they might soon become grandparents. Goru, filled with joy, encouraged Issei to pursue his dreams as a harem king. Meanwhile, Issei and Olivia exchanged glances, slightly embarrassed by the conversation but accepting the situation. Olivia asked Issei what time it was, and upon checking the alarm clock, he panicked when he realized they had little time left before school started. He rushed to prepare, while Olivia giggled and began getting ready for her first day of high school. At the entrance gate of Kuo Academy, Students were bustling about, chatting with one another. Suddenly, a girl and a boy shouted in surprise, drawing attention to the newcomers Olivia Gregory and Issei Hyoudou, who were wearing their cool uniforms and engagement rings while holding hands. The boys were captivated by Olivia's beauty, comparing her to other popular girls, while the girls admired Issei's handsome appearance. Despite the attention, Issei and Olivia sought peace and quiet. Olivia asked Issei for directions to the student council room, and he assured her he knew the way. They made their way inside the school. Upon arriving at the student council room, they knocked on the door, and Sona invited them in. She was surprised to see new students, as she hadn't been informed about any transfers. Issei, feeling a bit hurt that Sona didn't recognize him, reminded her of their past connection as part of the perverted trio. This revelation shocked everyone, and Sona fainted at the table. Her peers panicked, and Tsubaki rushed to wake her up, slapping her cheeks in a comical attempt to bring her back to consciousness. Olivia, feeling a bit sorry for Sona, suggested that Issei should help her, but he found the situation amusing and chose to watch instead. After a minute, Sona regained her composure, her cheeks swollen from Tsubaki's slapping, and she asked Issei to explain where he had been and what had happened to him. Although unsure of how much to share, Issei felt supported by Olivia and decided to tell Sona about his experiences, including being betrayed and disowned by Rias, as well as releasing the Archangel of Darkness and gaining new powers. Sona listened intently, her expression shifting from concern to alarm as she processed the implications of Issei's revelations. She expressed her fear regarding the Archangel of Darkness and the power Issei now wielded, which could pose a threat to the supernatural world. Issei reassured her that it had all been an accident and asked her to keep their situation a secret. Sona agreed, promising to maintain their confidentiality. Sona narrowed her eyes and suggested to Issei that he could call on her to give Rias a punishment, or perhaps let his future wife teach Rias a lesson with a strong display of force so that Rias wouldn't come to him or his wife. Issei acknowledged her idea and mentioned that he would return to his class, asking if Olivia could be assigned to the same class as him. Sona agreed but reminded him not to cause any trouble. As Issei and Olivia left, Sona and her peerage fainted, not wanting to face the Dark Angel. When Issei and Olivia entered their classroom, they drew the attention of both teachers and students. The teacher inquired if they were new students. Issei introduced himself as Issei Hyoudou, an old student, and introduced Olivia as the new student and his girlfriend, mentioning their engagement. The classroom erupted in surprise, prompting Issei and Olivia to communicate telepathically. Olivia expressed her concern about gaining both fangirls and fanboys, as well as those who viewed Issei as a pervert. Issei reassured her that he would handle any trouble from his classmates, particularly the Kendo Club girls who had been a nuisance. After Olivia introduced herself as Olivia Gregory from Germany, many students asked her questions, but she ignored them and sat next to Asia Argento, Issei's adopted sister and a former nun. Asia asked Olivia about her engagement to Issei, to which Olivia confirmed. She then questioned Asia about her decision to abandon her humanity and God's teachings to become a devil. Asia explained that she sought a second chance for Issei and regretted being part of the devil's work after realizing Rias had used Issei for her own desires. Olivia asked if Asia wanted to redeem herself, to which Asia replied affirmatively, expressing her desire to return to being a follower of God. Olivia smirked and revealed that she was the dark angel from the Bible, surprising Asia. Olivia's eyes glowed scarlet as she listened to the teacher discussing Christian living. After class, during recess, Olivia sensed a devil's presence and saw Kiba knocking on the door. He requested to speak with Olivia and Issei, but Issei firmly declined, stating he had things to do and warned Kiba to inform Rias that he was not part of her group. Kiba insisted it was important, but Olivia glared at him, releasing her holy aura and creating a thunderstorm, leaving the other students confused by the sudden change in weather. Olivia approached Kiba and firmly warned him to tell Rias not to disturb her peace with Issei, whispering a chilling message about never angering the Dark Angel. With a snap of her fingers, lightning struck in the direction of the ORC clubhouse. The students gasped in shock at the sight of the lightning. Kiba, trembling in fear, quickly apologized to Olivia and promised to relay her message to Rias before rushing away. Olivia, feeling victorious, turned to Issei with a bright smile and suggested they go to the canteen for something sweet. Issei felt grateful to have her in his life. Meanwhile, Kiba reflected on the situation, noting that Rias had been struck by the lightning and was now unconscious on the floor, her room in disarray. He recalled Rias's earlier threats against Olivia, only to see her suffer the consequences of her actions as the lightning had fused with holy magic, leaving her critically injured. Kiba sighed, recognizing this as karma for Rias. Kiba decided to call Surzek's Lucifer to inform him about the recent events. As he dialed the number, he felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. When Surzek's answered, Kiba relayed the situation, and Surzek's anger was palpable. He expressed his deep concern about the Dark Angel being in Kuo and warned Kiba to stay away from it unless he wanted to meet a grim fate. After the call ended, Kiba gulped nervously, muttering a silent prayer for protection from the Dark Angel. In another world, 5 individuals found themselves in the middle of the ocean, discovering a strange technology floating on the water, which turned out to be a portal. The blonde girl among them expressed her confusion about the situation, while Jean insisted they needed to destroy the portal before it fell into the hands of the Crimson Axis. Rallying her comrades, the blonde girl commanded them to aim their cannons and fire. Suddenly, a tentacle emerged from beneath the leader, wrapping around her feet and pulling her toward the portal. She gasped in shock, and her comrades rushed to help, but a barrier formed, preventing them from reaching her. Jean shouted the leader's name in desperation as the tentacle held her captive, knowing she was about to confront Observer Alpha. Observer Alpha appeared, observing Richelieu's struggle with a disapproving expression. She informed Richelieu that she was considered an anomaly and that the Empress had decided it was best to send her back to her original world. With that, she activated the portal and cast Richelieu into it, watching as the portal self-destructed, scattering debris into the depths of the ocean. Observer Alpha bid farewell to Iris Libra before disappearing through the portal. Jean, devastated by the loss of her leader, cried out in anguish, demanding the return of Richelieu. With their leader missing in action, the remaining members of Iris Libra faced the daunting task of finding a replacement. After Issei and Olivia finished their classes, they decided to head home together with Asia, who wanted to join them. As they walked, they suddenly sensed something unusual. A portal had appeared in the alleyway. Issei asked Olivia if she knew anything about it, but she shook her head, stating she would cast a magic barrier to protect them from any potential harm. Issei instructed Asia to stay behind them for protection and to assist with her healing abilities. With that, he summoned his boosted gear and the Lightborn sword. As Olivia prepared for the unknown, a figure fell from the portal, landing before them. To Olivia's shock, it resembled her deceased mother. The woman, Richelieu, gasped for help before fainting from exhaustion. Olivia rushed to her side, checking for a pulse, while Issei inquired about her identity. Olivia explained that this was her mother and urged Issei to help her. He carefully lifted Richelieu into his arms, and Olivia dispelled the barrier as they made their way home. Once they arrived at Hyoudu's residence, they laid Richelieu in the guest bedroom, where Asia used her twilight healing to restore her. Fortunately, Issei's parents were out, allowing them to focus on helping Richelieu. After a few minutes, Asia sighed in relief, announcing that she had healed Richelieu completely but that she needed rest. Olivia expressed her gratitude to Asia, acknowledging her healing abilities despite their differences. Asia understood Olivia's resentment toward devils but explained her choice to remain alive and support Issei. Olivia sighed heavily, reflecting on the injustices of the devil system and her desire to change things if she returned to heaven. She recognized Asia's struggles and commended her for her resilience. The two shared a moment of understanding, each navigating their complex feelings about their identities and choices in a world filled with challenges. Since it is your choice, I won't force you to change your mind. If you ever want to become a member of a church again, I'll be there to help you, she said, and Asia nodded in joy. While Issei listened to their conversation, Draig responded. He informed Issei that he sensed 3 holy sword wielders nearby their house. It was likely that they were members of an exorcist group, with two wielding fragments of Excalibur and the other wielding the original holy sword, Lightbringer. This sword was an artificial copy of the Lightborn sword, said to be on par with Excalibur and Durandal, but not against the Lightborn sword itself. It belonged to a member of the House Ark, known for being one of the best warriors on Earth, even though one of them was not aligned with the Church or God's rules. Drake mentioned that he and his previous host had encountered them before, but sadly, the House of Ark was now extinct, taken down by someone who called herself the Demon Witch. Issei stopped in his tracks, unsure of how to respond. Olivia turned around to see Issei, who had stiffened in place. He informed her that they had company, as Drake had told him about the 3 exorcists arriving at their home, one of whom possessed an artificial copy of the Lightborn sword called Lightbringer. Olivia's eyes widened as she expressed her concern about the church organization, questioning why they would create an exact copy of the Lightborn sword, which could lead to conflict between humans and the supernatural. She speculated that they might be investigating something in the area since she had been released from her prison, suggesting that Uncle Michael might have sent them for some reason. Issei agreed that they should meet the exorcists. He instructed Asia to stay behind and guard Olivia's mother while he and Olivia went to meet the visitors to understand their purpose. Asia assured Issei that she would take care of things and would call him later when Olivia's mother woke up. Issei gave her a reassuring pat on the head before he and Olivia made their way downstairs to the living room, where they found 3 exorcists sitting on the sofa. Irina Shidou and Zenobia Corda were among them, along with Jean Dark from Grand Blue Fantasy. Irina greeted Issei enthusiastically, expressing how long it had been since they last saw each other, while Zenobia and Jean nodded in acknowledgement. Issei was surprised to see Irina and exclaimed that he thought she was a boy. Irina laughed and confirmed her identity, then asked about Olivia, wondering if she was Issei's girlfriend. Before Issei could respond, Olivia confidently declared that she was indeed his girlfriend and future wife, showing Irina her engagement ring. Upon hearing this, Irina knelt down in shock, and her soul seemed to escape in disbelief, causing everyone in the room to sweat drop at the awkward moment. Even Olivia felt a bit guilty for revealing their engagement. Zenobia apologized for Irina's reaction and introduced herself as a member of the exorcists and wielder of Durandal. She explained that they were on a mission to find the stolen Excaliburs in the area. Olivia was surprised that they knew about her existence and asked if Michael had informed them about her. She also inquired about the silver-haired girl, sensing that she was emitting dark powers. Before Zenobia could answer, Jean interjected, expressing her indifference towards the church and stating that her priority was to serve the Archangel of Darkness. Zenobia bowed to Olivia and Issei, apologizing for Jean's rudeness and introducing herself and her companions. She explained that Jean was the reincarnation of the Saintess of Orleans, who had turned to darkness. This revelation shocked both Issei and Olivia, especially Olivia, who was concerned about her former best friend's fate. Olivia asked Jean how this had happened, recalling the tragic events of her past. Jean explained that Lucifer had captured her soul and corrupted her, preventing her from ascending to heaven. She recounted how she had been deemed a witch and a demon by the Ark clan and had ultimately taken them down herself. Olivia felt sympathy for Jean's plight and reassured her that Lucifer was dead and could no longer threaten the human world. However, Jean warned that there were still descendants of Lucifer, including his son Rizvam and his granddaughter, known as the last Lucifer and the White Dragon Empress. This revelation made Olivia narrow her eyes, while Issei stiffened at the mention of the White Dragon Empress and Lucifer's descendants. Jean informed them that they would meet again at Kuo Academy the following morning, explaining that they only wanted to speak with Olivia to ensure she wouldn't interfere with their mission. She revealed that the one responsible for stealing the Excaliburs was Kokabeel, a fallen angel of cadre class. After this, she and Zenobia carried Irina away, leaving Olivia and Issei to ponder the implications of their conversation. Olivia reflected on Kokabeel's actions, realizing that her former mentor had gone rogue after her disappearance during the Great Biblical War. Issei expressed his concern about facing the White Dragon Empress, acknowledging that he had never anticipated such a confrontation. Olivia agreed, believing that Issei was stronger than the White Dragon Empress. Before they could continue their discussion, the doorbell rang. Issei decided to check who was at the main door. As he opened the door, he was greeted by a man with golden bangs and black hair. Azazel asked if his daughter was present, surprising Issei, who was known as Security. Just as he was about to take a defensive stance, Olivia checked outside, astonished to see her father visiting. Olivia exclaimed in surprise, calling out to her father. Issei paused, realizing that the man before him was Azazel, the leader of Gregory. Time passed, and Issei and Olivia sat on one sofa while Azazel occupied another, glaring at Issei in a protective manner. Azazel remarked on the unexpected situation of Issei claiming his daughter as his girlfriend. Issei responded respectfully, inquiring if that was a problem. Azazel's expression shifted to one of happiness as he expressed surprise at finding someone who had freed his daughter from her previous confinement. He acknowledged Issei's efforts and offered his blessing for Issei to marry Olivia whenever he wished, emphasizing the importance of protecting her and their future child. Olivia questioned her father's reaction, wondering if he was aware of her peerage in CY. Azazel confirmed that he knew everything about her and sensed the unique presence within her, a child with a blend of dragon, angel, and human traits. He expressed pride in her, noting that her mother would have been proud as well. Olivia then revealed that she and Issei, along with his adopted sister, had encountered someone resembling her mother. Azazel's eyes widened in surprise as he urged her to share more details. Just as Issei began to respond, a scream echoed from the second floor, alarming the trio as they rushed upstairs. Upon arrival, they found Asia attempting to calm Richelieu, who was confused and frightened. Olivia asked Asia what had happened, and Asia explained that Richelieu had reacted in shock to her healing powers, mistaking her for a siren. Olivia, noticing her mother's fear, assured her that they meant no harm and urged her to trust them. Richelieu, still scared and confused, questioned Olivia's identity and location. Olivia reassured her, revealing herself as Olivia Libra Gregory, daughter of Azazel Gregory and Lena Libra, and the Archangel of Darkness. She introduced Azazel as her father, a former archangel who had become a fallen angel. As they displayed their wings, Richelieu gazed at them in awe, realizing she was in the presence of angels. Richelieu expressed her disbelief about the existence of angels and questioned if they were in the Sakura Empire. Azazel clarified that they were in Japan and expressed curiosity about Richelieu's origins, noting her resemblance to his late wife, Lena Libra. Richelieu introduced herself as Epiphanef Richelieu, a battleship-class Kansen and leader of Iris Libra Iris Orthodoxy, explaining her background and her transformation from a human named Lena Libra. Azazel was taken aback, realizing that Richelieu was once human, and the implications of her identity struck him deeply. He stood up, astonished at the revelation that she was his wife. Olivia intervened, urging her father to remain calm, reminding him that her mother had died during childbirth but that Richelieu was not the same as before. She asked for patience as Richelieu navigated her new identity. Azazel sighed, acknowledging his daughter's wisdom. He expressed disbelief that Lena was alive but different, noting her new name and the significance of it. He emphasized that Lena had always been a protector of humanity and would not have willingly become a weapon. And of course, Richelieu acknowledged her role as a good mother to her daughter, the Archangel of Darkness. She had a vision of herself as Lena Libra, carrying her child with her husband, Azazel, by her side. They were resting in the Garden of Eden, enjoying the beauty of their surroundings until they shared a tender kiss. A smile spread across Richelieu's face as she remembered this moment and expressed her feelings. Richelieu conveyed her determination to be a better wife and mother, despite not being Lena Libra. She still held onto partial memories of her and wanted to cherish them for both of them. She felt that this was a wonderful family reunion and addressed Azazel and Olivia with warmth. Olivia, with tears in her eyes, hugged her mother tightly, unable to contain her emotions. Richelieu embraced her daughter, offering comfort, while Azazel joined in, wrapping his arms around both of them. Tears of joy filled their eyes as they celebrated their strong family bond. Meanwhile, Issei and Asia were busy preparing dinner, and Issei wore a happy smile. He remarked on how Olivia must be thrilled to have her mother back, feeling that their family was now complete. Asia agreed, adding that Issei's parents would be surprised to meet Olivia's parents. Issei reassured Asia that everything would be fine and encouraged her to share her secret. As Asia revealed her partial holy energy, a soft light enveloped the kitchen, catching Issei's attention. To his astonishment, Asia transformed into another person, a girl with gray hair and pink eyes, dressed in a nun's outfit with a halo. Asia, now introducing herself as Elizabeth Christ, the daughter of the Messiah, explained her true identity and her connection to Olivia. Issei and Drake were taken aback, shocked to learn that Asia was indeed the daughter of the Messiah and a cousin of Olivia Gregory. That evening, Mickey and Goro returned home with various supplies, only to be surprised by Issei's announcement that Olivia's parents had come to visit. Issei's parents decided to greet them politely. Goro introduced himself and Mickey to Azazel and Richelieu, who were pleased to meet them. Azazel expressed his joy in meeting Olivia's parents and mentioned their desire to meet Olivia's boyfriend, who seemed like a good person. Richelieu, embodying her role as Olivia's mother, shared her happiness about Olivia living in Kuo Town and her close relationship with Issei. Goro and Mickey felt proud of their son, knowing he was a loving boy, especially after the challenges they had faced. My husband prays to the Shinto gods and the Christian God for our happiness and hope. As a result, we have a joyful child like him today. We don't mind his quirks, he is still our child. She expressed, and Goro smiled with tears of joy. Issei beamed with happiness, feeling the love from his parents, which he cherished as the essence of a happy family. Richelieu gasped, expressing her sympathy. Oh my! I'm so sorry about your previous MC. However, your son Issei is fortunate to be born into this world. I also bless him to be with my daughter Olivia, as they share a close bond. Mickey understood this, glancing at Issei and Olivia, then at Asia. Mickey remarked, Issei and Olivia are like perfect lovebirds. But who is this girl? She resembles Asia-chan. She inquired, confused by Asia's appearance, prompting Issei to clarify. Mom, this girl is indeed Asia-chan. She just concealed her true appearance from us, and she's actually as beautiful as Olivia-chan. Her real name is Elizabeth Christ, he explained, surprising Azazel and Olivia while Richelieu looked puzzled. Meanwhile, Mickey and Goro gazed at Asia, or Elizabeth, with admiration. Mickey exclaimed, Oh dear Asia, or should I say Elizabeth-chan, why didn't you tell us you were so beautiful with that silver-gray hair and pink eyes? It suits you as a mature woman, but I also loved your blonde cinnamon hair and green eyes. Asia felt a bit embarrassed at her adopted mother's enthusiasm. Asia replied, I'm sorry, Mom. I wanted to avoid some people who caused me trouble because of my rare hair and eye color. That's why I wore a blonde wig and contact lenses to conceal my true identity. Mickey's heart swelled with joy at being called Mom instead of her first name. Kaya, you called me Mom. How about we have dinner together with the Gregory family? Shall we? She suggested, making Goro laugh happily. That's right. But I want a rematch with Issei and Olivia in a drinking contest. How about you, Azazel? Do you want to join? Goro asked, and Azazel responded with a mischievous smile. Sure, count me in. But I'm not sure if my wife drinks beer, he said, glancing at Richelieu, who shook her head. I don't drink beer, dear husband. I'm fine with water or fine wine, but make sure you both don't get drunk, she cautioned. The others laughed and Olivia chimed in. Oh, Mom, you're not alone. I don't want to join the drinking contest either. It might affect my unborn child's health. Issei's parents and Richelieu were surprised, prompting Mickey to ask. Wait, your PRD, Olivia-chan? She inquired, and Olivia nodded. Goro looked at Issei proudly. That's my boy. I'm so proud of you, he praised, but Issei felt a wave of anxiety as he glanced at his mother and Richelieu. Mickey warned, Issei, do you know that starting a family so early might jeopardize your future? Richelieu added, That's true, but since you've gotten my daughter PRD, let me issue you, shall I? Issei felt a chill at the word d'espelin, fearing the consequences from both mothers. Let's discuss this. I'll take responsibility for Olivia, so please don't, he stammered as Mickey and Richelieu brandished their special weapon for d'espin, the La Chancla, preparing to use it on him. The sound of the slaps echoed as Issei yelped for mercy, but the two mothers were relentless. Meanwhile, Azazel and Goru shared a knowing look, reminiscing about their own experiences. "You've been through this before, right?" Azazel asked. "Absolutely. When I was a teenager, I accidentally got Mickey peerage in college. My mom and her mom punished me with la chancla. It hurt like crazy. What about you?" Goru replied. "Not much, except my wife punished me for getting her peerage in without permission using a pole stick. My family just pitted me. Being punished by my wife feels like facing a monster, and now she has la chancla. We're doomed," Azazel said, fear evident in his eyes as he recalled his wife's formidable destiny. Meanwhile, Olivia and Asia Elizabeth exchanged glances, feeling sympathy for Issei but knowing they could do nothing but wait for the commotion to settle down. After they arrived at the Aza Lane base, Richelieu docked her ship, and she, along with Olivia, Issei, Asia, and Azazel, disembarked from the battleship. They were guided by Enterprise and Belfast to the office to discuss their unexpected arrival, especially regarding the guests and their origins. Many Kansans at Aza Lane began to gossip and murmur about the new arrivals, particularly since Issei and Azazel were the first males they had encountered since the majority of the human population had vanished, leaving only the Kansans, who blamed the sirens for humanity's extinction. Both males felt a shiver run down their spines as they were targeted by the curious female Kansans, being the only males present at the Aza Lane base. Upon entering the building, they arrived at the office, ready to face the next chapter of their adventure. They knocked on the door before being invited inside the office, where they were greeted by the Prince of Wales and Illustrious. Wales acknowledged them, expressing surprise at seeing Richelieu. She mentioned that they had thought Richelieu had fallen into a trap set by the sirens. Richelieu explained that she had indeed been absent for a time but had much to discuss, including the presence of her guests from another world. Wales nodded in understanding, while Illustrious noticed Olivia, who bore a slight resemblance to Richelieu, differing only in her clothing and horns. Illustrious inquired about Olivia's identity, to which Olivia introduced herself as Richelieu's biological daughter. She shared that Richelieu, in her previous life as Lena, had given birth to her after marrying her father, who had black hair with golden bangs. This revelation surprised both Illustrious and Wales, prompting a soft giggle from Richelieu at their reaction. Wales quickly regained her composure and turned her attention to the other guests. Wales asked the newcomers to introduce themselves, and Azazel spoke first, identifying himself as Olivia's father and Richelieu's husband. Next, Issei introduced himself as Olivia's partner and the current Red Dragon Emperor, which intrigued the four shipgirls. Asia followed, revealing her name and stating that she was Issei's little sister. Wales and Illustrious greeted them warmly, with Wales introducing herself as the Prince of Wales, a battleship, and Illustrious as an aircraft carrier of the Royal Navy. She then asked what they wished to discuss. Olivia took the lead, asking if they believed in the supernatural. The shipgirls shook their heads in response. With their answers in mind, Olivia spread her dark and golden wings, leaving the shipgirls in awe. Azazel revealed his 12 jet-black wings, Asia displayed her divine aura and halo, and Issei showcased his dark crimson dragon wings. The shipgirls were both terrified and amazed, realizing that these beings were not like the sirens but rather something entirely different. Wales, recovering from her shock, expressed her disbelief that supernatural beings still existed. She noted the distinct features of Olivia and her companions compared to the shipgirls they were familiar with. Meanwhile, Asia pondered the existence of nuns and angelic beings in both the Royal Navy and Iris Libra. Issei and Azazel were curious about Olivia's kitsune traits but were caught by her and Richelieu's watchful gazes. Olivia then shifted the conversation to the sirens' goals, capturing the attention of Enterprise, Belfast, Wales, and Illustrious. She explained that the sirens aimed to defeat their greatest enemy, the Leviathan. The shipgirls were unfamiliar with this creature, prompting Olivia and Azazel to show them an image of the Leviathan, a massive serpent known for its destructive power. Olivia elaborated, stating that the Leviathan was the sea serpent of the end and one of the most dangerous monsters, rumored to rival the Norse world serpent, Jormungandr. She mentioned that her aunt, the true Leviathan, had perished in the great supernatural war, killed by Lucifer himself. Azazel clenched his fists in anger upon hearing the name of the devil who had caused so much suffering to his family. Enterprise acknowledged the gravity of the Siren's mission and expressed her condolences for Olivia's loss. Olivia thanked her, explaining that their current priority was to defeat the Sirens and compel them to accept terms for peace. She emphasized the need to gather allies, including the Crimson Axis, to unite against the Leviathan. Wales agreed to Olivia's plans, assuring her that she and her group were free to explore the base while she and Illustrious attended to their paperwork, which had been quite overwhelming. Enterprise and Belfast were instructed to show the guests around their base, as they had little to attend to regarding personal matters. Both nodded in agreement. Richelieu asked Wales to contact someone in Iris Libra to inform them of her return and to gather everyone at the Aza Lane base under her holy decree. She wanted to share their plans and introduce her beloved daughter, husband, and 2 members. Wales noted the request and assured Richelieu that she would reach out to the person in charge of Iris Libra. Afterward, Wales and Illustrious returned to their paperwork, a challenging task that required their full attention. As Olivia, Issei, and their group were guided by Enterprise and Belfast, they visited various locations within the base, including the canteen, dormitory, lecture hall, tactical class academy, munition building, cattery, supply warehouse, and merchant building. After the tour, they found a scenic spot to watch the sunset. Issei stretched his arms and remarked on the beauty of the scenery, likening it to Hawaii's Pearl Harbor. This caught Enterprise's attention, prompting her to ask him about his world. Issei explained that in history, the Axis, known as the Crimson Axis, was defeated by the Allies, or Aza Lane, to simplify matters. He described how both sides used not only warships but also war machines like planes, tanks, and artillery. He emphasized the sacrifices made by both sides to secure a future free from catastrophic war, noting that humanity had endured significant casualties to achieve peace. Hearing this, Enterprise and Belfast felt a wave of discomfort, realizing the extent of human sacrifice for their world's future. As Kansans, they were willing to lay down their lives for humanity's victory against the Sirens, yet they yearned to live as humans rather than mere weapons of war. Olivia added that human wars were indeed real in their world. She shared her experience using her skill, Eye of the World, to observe the consequences of her grandfather's creation. She mentioned that even if she managed to defeat evil, it would still persist in committing atrocities against the innocent. She referenced the historical crimes of the Nazis and expressed her desire to eradicate such evil if given the chance. Enterprise sighed, reflecting on the unchanging nature of war throughout history. She mentioned that she and Belfast had already shown the guests around the base and hoped they felt comfortable. She recalled that Richelieu had known the base well when they formed an alliance to protect their world from the Sirens. Enterprise then excused herself to check on something related to her carrier, recalling a close call during a previous mission where she had nearly been hit by a Siren's attack. She acknowledged Belfast's timely intervention and the assistance of 2 destroyers from Dragon Emperor. Richelieu teased Enterprise about her battle experience, pointing out that her recklessness had led to her needing saving. She reminded everyone that the purpose of their alliance was mutual support, regardless of differing ideals. Richelieu expressed her doubts about her sister's faction, the Visha Dominion, using Siren technology for good, while also mentioning other factions like Ironblood, Sakura Empire, and Sardegna Empire that employed similar technology. Azazel chimed in, suggesting that studying Siren technology could lead to advancements that counter it. Enterprise admitted she had not considered this approach but recognized the need for evolution in their strategies. She resolved to explore the possibility of adapting Siren technology for more humane applications. Just then, a siren alarm rang out, signaling it was time to leave. Enterprise expressed her pleasure in conversing with the guests and invited Belfast to accompany her to the docks. Belfast offered her assistance to Issei, should he need it, before following Enterprise. As the 2 Kansans departed, Olivia and Asia Elizabeth exchanged glances filled with jealousy towards Issei, who chuckled nervously, unsure of how to navigate the situation with his envious companions. Later that night, after the tour of the Aza Lane base, Azizel, Richelieu, Asia, and Olivia settled into their shared room. Olivia awoke in the middle of the night to find Issei missing from his bed. Where did Issei go? Perhaps he was taking a stroll somewhere in the middle of the night. Olivia quietly stood up and headed out of the room. The dark angel left the dormitory in search of Issei around the base. As she reached a spot with a beautiful view of the ocean, she admired its beauty but couldn't shake the thought that something dangerous might lurk beneath the surface. Olivia marveled at the view, contemplating the ocean's allure and its hidden dangers. She wondered where Issei could be. Suddenly, she felt a strong breeze behind her, one that felt unusual for a night like this. When she turned around, she was caught off guard by what she saw. Issei had transformed into a massive, wyvern-like dragon. His scales shimmered in black with reddish tints, and his body was adorned with spike fins and arm wings, resembling a creature of legend. He explained to Olivia that he had performed a dragonification ritual with Draig's help, allowing him to take on this temporary form to aid their allies in the fight against the Crimson Axis and the Sirens. Olivia sighed, hoping he could revert to his human form soon. She then inquired about their plans for the next day. Issei expressed that they needed to strategize for reuniting the Allies and the Axis, doubting that the Sirens would heed their calls. Olivia agreed, acknowledging the importance of the upcoming day and their mission to assist her mother's allies. As the two admired the ocean under the moonlight, they were unaware that someone was watching them. Arbiter 3, the Empress. She noted the unexpected sight of a dark angel and a dragon in this world, attributing it to Observer Alpha's actions in sending Richelieu there. Just then she received a call. Her father asked her to track down her little half-brother, which filled her with frustration. She couldn't believe he had lost him and demanded to know when he had last seen him. Despite being a siren, she was still part human, and her father's carelessness annoyed her. Her father mentioned that her younger brother had a girlfriend and was on vacation with her and her parents, hinting that she might not be human. He urged her to protect him from a distance, reminding her to keep her emotions in check. Arbiter Empress suppressed her anger, realizing her priority was to find and protect her little brother, activating her overprotective instincts. She reluctantly agreed to look after her half-brother, vowing that if she returned with him, she would hold her father accountable for his negligence. After ending the call, Arbiter 3 Empress, known as Issei Hyoudou, reflected on her role in the Aza Lane world. Though she sometimes acted as a villainess, her true purpose was to ensure that the Aza Lane had a fighting chance against the Leviathan. As she glanced back at the couple, she recognized the dragon's appearance as reminiscent of a toy figure she had given her brother as a baby. This made her suspect he might possess a sacred gear that allowed him to transform. Believing in the existence of the supernatural, just as her mother had told her about her father's world, she activated a portal to the siren world, determined to fulfill her promise. With a giggle, she entered the portal, ready to devise plans for Issei's new powers and training. The game between shipgirls and sirens had shifted, and now it was time for them all, shipgirls, sirens, dark angels, and dragons, to rise against the looming threat. It seems there was an error, as the provided text is incomplete. Please provide the full text you would like me to edit, and I'll be happy to assist you. It seems there was an error in your request, as there is no story provided to edit. Please provide the text you would like me to revise, and I will be happy to assist you.